Yo, no, you're good. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm getting feedback. Should I mute this?
So just mute this stream, and then you should be fine.
Okay. All right, there we go. Cool. Sweet.
So
All
how's
good.
how's your day going, dude?
It's going well. It's going well.
Nice.
Some some things in my life recently that make me envy the single, but other than that, I'm pretty focused, as per the name.
Yeah, gotta keep that focus, man. Keep it on.
Yeah, for sure.
Focus your sights
hmm
on those MMR gains or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. I hit a ceiling at plat 2, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm pulling the trigger on some coaching, sure.
Nice.
Um, So what I was doing was like I was just kind of climbing ladder as fast as possible in the name of efficiency, but in this case time. But then when the 12 pool openings and then all the quick play didn't work anymore, I'm like, okay, I got to macro up and learn how to play a real game if I want to beat, like if I want to get through the blockade or the ceiling, the
For
skill ceiling.
for
So
sure.
mhm.
Yeah. So you're over. Does that overall just genuinely mean that you're kind of just trying to like get through the early game and like try to figure out like a plan essentially, or
Well, like I said, I've been a pretty like I'm pretty, what do you say, avid viewer of BTGM, like
yeah?
not just one race either, just like, try to absorb as much as possible from all of it so I can understand there's like a lot of people that are exercising some of the things that you're kind of putting down in that. So like for all races, I've noticed patterns on the ladder that like, I can almost identify as BTGM play, like the compositions people are using, especially when it comes to like Hellion openers into Hellbats, like salvos and the Thor Hellion
Mm.
slow mech.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The
so like when
OP.
I'm playing, yeah, exactly, the A move max
Yeah, yeah,
potential.
yeah.
So when I see that, like I'm like, I'm more apt to understand what his goal is because I've watched BTGM and I understand like if I can usually identify when a player is kind of like leaning towards your compositions and stuff like that. So watching all the races in action have helped me understand how to like face them. And right now where I'm at with my Zerg play is like I've been kind of like I'll save a replay if I really like it, if it's like something that I think that I can reproduce. Like for example, like just cheeky play. Like for example, if I contain a Protoss with like a proxy hatch and like push like a lot of pressures with Ravagers and stuff like this.
Sure.
Really, like I want to analyze the timings and see like where are they like most vulnerable for me to move in with that sort of thing. And just like grease ball tactics like that I like, because if I can squeeze out early wins I'd like to, but I'm feeling more comfortable now falling back to the macro effort. I just feel like as the game progresses, my vulnerabilities lie in like when do I tech switch, what do I tech switch to, like what is going to defeat this. And like the best thing I can say so far, like that I need, my identified issues personally is like control grouping army and controlling them that way. Like I'm
Okay.
an F2 addict.
Sure.
I have it binded to a different button, the button beside the one, the little comma there. That's my all army key. But I use that way too much. So my focus right now, I'm so focused on not changing my army control mechanic because that is a serious issue.
Sure.
But outside of that, like I'm splitting my groups for my queens between injects and arm like map progression, like creep progression and stuff. Like I'll have like my first three initial queens on my first three bases keyed for to tab through the camera keys as you showed. So I'm using a lot of mechanics that you'll identify as like your own that you've taught. For example, my bases are actually, my camera hotkeys are like QWERTY. So I'll have up to six bases that I can just pop injects on using the cycle method that you teach.
Yeah.
So I've made that work for me. So those things are feeling very strong now. It's just I'm dying to like not knowing when to like hop off the drones or and like or just because I'm such an F2 addict, I'll not be able to keep my lanes in front of like the move out paths. So like I'm not seeing attacks coming and I'm dying to them because like I'm making army once it hits my
Okay.
base and
Okay.
etc.
Yeah, it makes like that scouts are
Scouting,
missing and stuff.
yes, exactly. And like I remember what you've said, like scouting is not your problem, micro is not your problem, macro is your problem. So like I've been focusing very heavily on macro, but like I feel like there's still piece of the puzzle missing, because like I've saved replays where it's like I bully a Terran, who's like trying to wall off with fortresses and stuff like that because he's just intimidated by the expansion that I've been able to play. Like on the map with my creep spread is actually pretty decent. You'll find if we jump into a game and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's just I feel like I'm dying in situations I shouldn't be dying in. Like a Terran on 2 base is beating me on 5 sometimes, and
No,
it just feels like it shouldn't happen.
for sure. So just to clarify, just because I don't know if you told me already. I don't think you did, or I mean maybe you did an email or something. But what league are we talking here as well? Just so I have a.
Oh, I'm plat 2.
Okay.
So I stopped playing on ranked as soon as I started to notice my loss ratio catch up to my wins, because there was at a time where I was like 39-4 or something ridiculous. And then I was just like I had a really good ratio all the way up until plat 2, but then as soon as I hit like, and it's tanked a little bit since, but I think the highest I got was like 3100, and then I started to get matched against like mid to low diamond, and then those players just weren't having it. Like my play just couldn't measure up at that point.
Okay.
I think in certain situations I'm just forgetting upgrades, or just I think my game awareness is just like shot in certain situations.
Sure. I mean it happens for sure. So we can take a look, honestly. If you want to, I don't know if your preference is to do something live or if you have something prepared already, like a replay. I'm down to do either thing though.
Yeah, I don't really like if I would prefer like if we can do the same sort of format as like B2GM, like play and then review,
Okay.
just because there's things like more kinesthetic. I'm I'm more kinesthetic when I learn. So like if I'm being told to do something while I'm doing it, it'll stick with me.
Sure.
But if like I think the reason why I haven't been able to improve just by viewing B2GM and trying to apply that stuff independently is because I don't have somebody yelling from the behind me kind of thing,
Yeah, sure.
so
Okay.
to speak. Like I don't have somebody saying like just reminding me at that time that this is what you're missing at this moment, and then when the moment passes I can look back and I can say, yeah, that was bad.
All right.
But it's like it doesn't help me in that situation anymore because I've passed the situation. Going into a new game, it's completely irrelevant because it's all situational. But I just need to find like a safe, and not so much safe, just like a way to set like a gold standard for myself. Like I've been trying to hit like 2 base saturation by 3 minutes 30 seconds, and I feel like that's been a tall order even just to do that. So it's usually hitting around 340 to 4 minutes.
All right.
I feel like it could be soon.
I have an idea what we can do. I think
All right.
I'll have you play 2 games, and then we'll talk about them. Probably the second one a bit more than the first one, but I'll have the first game you play against an AI, and then I'll have the second game you do against an actual person, probably in plat as well, or something like that. And the first one, I'll just kind of give you some ideas. It'll be a little bit slower because it'll be AI, but it'll be some ideas on how to like control group things and like make things easy for you while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then in game 2,
That'd be great.
yeah, and then in game 2 will be like try to like implement this yourself, like versus a person live. That's gonna actually put up a little bit more of a challenge than AI.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to practice like the macro in AI as well, but like you said, it's gonna build a false confidence.
No, for sure, yeah.
So
It would just be for me to talk to you while you're doing it. It'll be a lot more smooth
Yeah,
for me to
of
tell you what's
course.
going on.
All right, cool.
All right. So, are you on BattleNet right now?
I am.
All right. Are you?
I actually have you as a friend.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
All right.
All right.
So
And then
make
just
the leader.
nice.
There.
And then I'll make just a standard ladder map.
Mhm.
And then if anyone out there is listening right now, and if you guys are in the platinum range, if you guys want to join in next game, I might be able to use you, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. But for right now, or sorry, what's up?
Oh, nothing. I was
Okay.
just. I said spicy.
Oh,
as in,
sorry.
like,
My sub
custom
alert went
sense.
off the same time you said something, so I was like, oh yeah, and you said something, I couldn't hear it, what you said.
Okay.
But yeah.
It was just an expletive.
Yeah, that's all good. I'll just give it. It'll be Terran. Doesn't really matter. We'll just hit it up.
Yeah.
And
Terran's my worst matchup.
oh, there you go,
So
dude.
that's good.
There you go. Let's.
I think I was gonna. I tried to mention. I'm just starting to work in Vipers to my play, like yoinking them into a bed.
Oh, you are
of,
nuts.
Lurkers is like.
You are crazy. Because I'll throw it out there and say, if you're using speedlings and vipers and stuff like that in plat, you're literally making the game so hard for yourself. I'm not saying you can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Mm.
those are. I'll see what you're doing this game, but those are really micro-intensive units, and in Plat you shouldn't really honestly be not microing much at all.
Right. Okay.
Like a Viper, honestly, if you want my genuine opinion, I think it's a unit that you shouldn't use until bare minimum Masters League.
Yeah, you know what? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like you said that trying to micro. I'm over microing, like I'm microing beyond my abilities at that point.
Yeah, it's just distracting is really all it is. Make sure you're
Right.
5 SD in your larva as much as possible, and then now you're gonna make a expand though. 180 is when you want to pull.
Okay. 180.
Yeah, so you're gonna be a bit late now because you can actually make a drone now because you'll have about like 370 when you get there.
All right. Oh, so I should take off the line for that expansion?
Yeah.
Line?
Yep.
Okay. I've been just rallying the 16th drone.
Yeah, it's because it takes you about the amount of time for you to mine minerals. Also, you make so if you're doing B2GM, you're taking your gas way too fast. You'd want to go for a 18 pool and a 20 gas.
Right, right. Sorry, I've been watching too much Cyril.
No, you're all good. I mean, this is now looking like a speedling expand. So if you're gonna do like roaches with 2 base, this is way too fast on your gas, and it's gonna disrupt your build quite a bit if you saturate it fully, like right off the bat, because you're gonna undersaturate your mineral line, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Right, so don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just rally them in then.
Yeah, that's fine. Even now,
these things will help.
Even now, you'll still have too much gas. Yeah, I'm not telling you.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Just do it. But the reason why is because you still get value of minerals, even though you're over 16 on the mineral line, and you really don't need gas until 20. Because the reason why is because you don't actually use gas early for anything. You use gas once you hit layer.
Right. Exactly. Okay. And maybe for like an early pressure on Protoss if you want to get early speed or something.
You should never do that. Never do that.
Okay.
That's it's a completely different play style. If you're gonna go speedlings, you have to go speedling a build.
Right. Okay.
Like, because if you do it bronze,
floating a lot.
You are. It's okay. It's because we're talking. That's why I want you to play an AI.
Okay.
But I'm gonna pause really fast, and I'll explain it really quickly because it's really important to know this. In StarCraft 2, your opener needs to be specific to what you want to do, and if you want to do aggression, you have to prioritize your gas earlier. And if you want to do macro, you should prioritize your minerals earlier. So you can never do a build that is a mineral priority and then turn it into a aggressive build because it will always be late and fail. So that's why that's why you can't do it. Like if you want to do like speedling pressure, your build has to just be speedling openers, and you can't have it be B2GM anymore.
Oh, I don't want that.
Yeah, well, like for now, I would, if you're still Plat, I would highly recommend you just keep doing B2GM, because if your macro is slipping here and there, having a really like fundamental understanding of macro and like what means what and like how to make it all work together, that is so important to be able to develop your own builds and like go from there. So right now, what your build is really understanding how much a Roach and a Hydra cost, and they're both mineral heavy. Like a Roach is 50 more minerals than gas, and a Hydra is 50 more minerals than gas. So you're gonna definitely be, and then you also need to get like hatcheries and drones and overlords and all these other things. So it's definitely mineral focused, and that means your build should definitely be mineral focused too. So gas priorities should never be your thing for that kind of a playstyle.
Right. So like so just keep it at, just remember to get it at 20 if I'm gonna get it at all.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna do like would you say that it is out of my skill set to try the gasless like Queen Walk on a Protoss or something like that?
I think think everything you do aggressive should be out of your repertoire now. And the reason why is just it's the main reason why I tell people not to be aggressive until you're like maxed out and then you just A move is because every one of these builds you're doing or you're talking about doing that has some type of aggression, the only way they're effective is if they're microed. And if they're microed, you're multitasking, and you're really never multitasking if you're in platinum. Like, it means that you're going to actually disrupt your own build, and then your goal doesn't become to disrupt your opponent's build at that point, that's what it should be if you're like Cyril or someone like someone who's like really solid at StarCraft because they've been doing it forever and they're a pro. Their goal in aggression is to disrupt their opponent's build as much as possible. But there's a default that their build is not going to be disrupted at all because they can handle it. But when you're a lower level player, what happens when you're aggressive is is you're hoping that you're going to disrupt your opponent's build more than what you disrupt your own build, because you're going to do both there. Like, you're both going to
Right.
have fucking chaotic, like, mishaps where it's like, oh, God, I just attacked him with queens, and now I have 1,700 minerals. Whoops. So
Right.
it happens all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I would just say,
Okay.
if you don't do it and your opponent does stuff like that, you will run them over with good macro every time. Because
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, like this is the final thing I'll say, then we can go back to it. Is the key to getting out of plat and getting above into diamond and beyond is literally being able to just macro at what the baseline of efficient is. Not like the best build ever, but like just the baseline to be like in the realm of efficiency. And everyone in plat and below, they get caught up in thinking about the game just like you are right now, where they're like, well, I'll just add in this aggression. I'll add in that kind of a build that kind of is lopsided with, you know, I'll go for late gas but speedling pressure, stuff like it's all these different chaotic things like this, and they always have
Right.
the baseline of efficiency just drops below it, and then if the other guy just plays efficient and just even if he's like literally microing nothing, he wins because he just has 50 more supply every fight, or like 70 more supply, or 50 or 40 more supply, whatever. Really, just a lot more units, and it becomes difficult as hell to beat that.
Right. It tells the tale of why I'm dying to Terrans that sit on 2 base and just make units
For
until
sure.
they're ready to push out with
Yeah.
like max BCs.
Exactly, because
Okay.
base count doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you aren't macroing as efficiently. Like, for instance, there could be a moment where you could actually say, 2 base 100% efficient macro build could actually be better than a 5 base inefficient macro build. And because
Alright,
like if the 5
okay.
bases just aren't being utilized very well, it doesn't matter if just because it's 5 base, it doesn't mean it's really 5 base.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
All right, ready?
All right. Yep.
All right.
So,
Game resumed.
all right.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, it just makes sense because if I'm looking at this side of the map, like, so in BTGM, you're saying along the lines of things like, you know, it's not necessary to scout if you're just focusing on your own macro. Is that like true in this case? I could just focus on just finding out like expansion timings. Like, for example, he's not.
Yeah. Honestly, that's
like,
fine. Yeah.
He's not.
You could be like, oh, no expand. I could make a spine like in a real game, and that'd be fine.
Right.
As long as your build
But-
is.
and that's-
Or go ahead. Sorry.
In the lower leagues, like you said, it's hard to scout anything because it could just be an inefficient, poopy build that you think is actually aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of times, also make sure you. Yeah, I was gonna type it, but I'm talking now anyways. Make sure you take a Roach Wine. Make sure you take your Evo. Make
Right.
sure you take your double gas at your natural. Make sure you take your third queen. Also, you got speedlings this game, and you definitely don't want to do that.
Right. Okay. I should probably
Also-
just forget that happened then.
Yeah, you're all good. Also, your
Okay.
wall is a little funky. You want to?
Wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's gonna be distracting as hell when I'm talking to you, but
Right.
right now,
So we'll pretend
go ahead.
that he is aggressive and put his spine in that hole.
Okay. Right now, your build's a little off overall. So, generally speaking, what you want to do now is you want to take your gases at your natural, make nothing but drones, take your third base.
Yes, I got supply block. This is another common problem for me.
Sure.
Oh, now I'm forgetting my hotkeys. I literally just changed them because I didn't like the GH. I didn't like reaching over to the right side
Sure.
to make my hatchery.
It's all
on
good.
BH.
I got you. And then
And I'm a little nervous because it's
no,
5 sensitive.
100%. Yeah, no, I get it. Make all that larva into your drones, and then
Can I take the second gas?
no,
On the main?
no. You honestly, okay. So I'll pause it one more time, and this is generally how you'd want the build to go. So you would go for like just to open it in general in the start of the game. You want to go for a 16 hatch, an 18 pool, and a 20 gas. And then as soon as your
Yep.
pool is done, you're making nothing but drones and overlords. You then make 2 queens at once. As soon as your first 2 queens are like 90% of the way done, you can queue up a second queen on your natural to go right behind the first queen, so there's no missed time there. So you get the fastest third queen possible, and that's going to be your creep spreader. And then as soon as this, at the same time when you do that, then get ready to take your layer, because within probably like 2 seconds, your queen's going to spawn, and you make a layer. Meanwhile,
Right.
you're resuming and continuing Overlord and drone production. And then the perfect time to make your Roachhorn and Evo is after you spinned the larva when your first inject pops off your hatcheries. So it's like 30 seconds
Okay.
after your queen spawn. And then
So
you oh, sorry, go ahead.
so after the larva spawns, that's when you drop the roach horn and double eagle.
Yeah, you have to spin it though. Make sure you spin the larva first.
Okay.
And then as soon as you
On
make the
drones and
Roachhorn,
Obies.
yeah, exactly. And all you're doing is drones and overlords, drones and overlords, drones and overlords. And as soon as you have the what's it called? The Roachhorn started, you then start 2 gases at your natural. Now with this, you stay on this level of gas, 3 gases only. But the goal is you're going to make a fully saturated 2 base aside from one of the gases in your main. You're just going to leave it. So it's
Is this a head game, like to show our opponent double gas on the natural?
no, it has nothing to do with that. This so this is a common thing that a lot of people do. The whole thing about beta GM is every single aspect about StarCraft doesn't exist. It's just it literally is just macro. It has nothing to do with meta. It has nothing to do with misdirection. Nothing to do with aggressive the disruption. Nothing to do with anything. It's just good macro. And the reason why you only get 3 gas, and the reason why you time the gas the way you do, is because mineral prioritizes your build because you don't need gas that early, that more than what the build is giving you. So the first gas at 20, the only reason why you take that gas at that point in time is for a layer. That's it. And then it gives you that at a perfect time. And then the only reason why you take your 2 gases after you start the Roachhorn and the Evo Chamber is because it starts increasing your gas production to be able to allow you to afford Roach speed, +1 missile weapons, and then start making some Roaches. So it like allows you to start adding in even more gas cost into your build. But you're not prioritizing it early, you're prioritizing it after you've pretty much saturated the mineral line. Because that's around the time when this is all going to happen. And then you're going to take your 3rd gas, and once you fully saturate your mineral line on your 3rd gas, or on your 3rd base, then you take your last 3 gases. You take your main base and then your 3rd base gases. So you will eventually take that gas. The only reason why I also tell you don't take the gas in your main is because if you've ever heard me talk about mineral stacking, you're not having a mineral stacked natural, but you are ideally having a mineral stacked main. So you don't want to disrupt the perfect mineral line when you can instead disrupt the mineral line that's not even saturated fully yet. Like it's on its way, so it still has developing process. So it's maintaining better economy is why you do that.
All right, understood.
Nice.
And so I recall you saying that the 3rd base, once the saturation is being approached on that mineral line, is when you drop the hydrogen.
Yep, and you can also pair that hydrogen with the 2nd Evo, so you can start level 1 Carapace, and you can also start Hydra upgrades, and then also inevitably start Hydras themselves eventually.
Right. And then nearing the end of like when you're approaching max, get a lurker den just in case it's base race time.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that totally works. You a lot of times you won't even need to use lurkers. I'm not gonna lie. In platinum, or go ahead.
Yeah, I've noted that actually it never really gets to that point, especially if you
Yeah, no,
identify whether or not.
If you're macroing like a beast, you like 99 times out of 100 you will just run them over. It's if they're genuinely platinum. Like I'm dead serious when I say platinum players just do not have a baseline of macro. It just kind of is missing. Because they all overthink the game way too much. Like everybody thinks you have to do everything in StarCraft when if you just don't, but the thing is, this is the golden rule of the game that a lot of people just don't believe until, but I think everyone at high level believes this, but everyone at low level doesn't understand this. And what it is if you cannot have a baseline of good macro, nothing is correct. Like literally everything is incorrect then, because you can't even you can't play the game at the level of what is required to play at, so you have no chance versus someone who can have that baseline. So no matter how good your misdirection is and how good your multitasking is and how good your all of these other things are, if your baseline macro is off, all of these other things become like 80% weaker than what they could have been, because you don't have enough stuff to make it work.
It's like a MOBA where one side of the map is spawning more creep than the other. If
Yeah,
you know what
no,
I mean.
for
Like they're
sure.
getting.
If
Yeah.
if you wanted my if I were to give you an analogy on what I think it would be like on a MOBA, it would be like saying it doesn't matter how good you are at timing your abilities with your teammates or like timing your abilities on your opponents. Imagine if you just never got to put items on and your opponents had full gear. Like they had like 10,000
Yeah.
gold of items and you have 0 and you're like, "Well, I'm doing nothing the entire time though." It feels like even though I feel like I'm really good about setting up things and it just cuz
It's
you
like
just
being
don't
a fresh 70.
exactly. Yeah, you just don't have
Fresh.
the requirement needed to be efficient there to like make it actually feel like it works. All right.
Right, right, right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Game resumed.
All right. So from now for here, you would want to keep making drones, saturate
Yep.
your gas at your natural, and you would want to start roach speed and just one of your evo chambers start +1 missile, and that's it. And then make like 6 roaches right now. This would be your safety roaches. And now rally to your third and make drones again.
Oh, like rally all
All
drones.
like the hatcheries themselves, I mean.
Yep.
And then just keep making drones.
Super.
And then I would say make 2 queens right now. Because the reason why is because you missed a 3rd queen on your natural.
That's right.
And now you also need a creep spreader. So what you would do normally is you're going to make a 3rd queen out of your natural, and then shortly after you're going to make a 4th queen out of your natural, because you want to. That 3rd queen is going to eventually become an injector.
That was probably not a good idea.
For what do you the creep tumor?
I tumored instead of.
Yeah,
injected.
you should have injected for sure, but yeah, it's okay. That's why you want the extra queen faster. All right, and then now once
That
you
makes
start
a lot of sense.
once you start having drones going, keep making drones. You got to make sure you're 5 SD in as
right,
much
yeah.
as possible, and then grab one of these drones as they spawn and they start running down to the 3rd, and just make a hydrogen somewhere. Doesn't really matter where.
Queen complete.
And then Carapace.
And then you can start Carapace, exactly. Yeah, that's fine. Normally you'd be starting the 2nd Evo at this point in time. But yeah, if you already had it done, then you could do it early.
Right.
The only time you should...
Maybe a little.
Or I'm going to pause one more time and say this really fast. This is important. Now, generally speaking, if it is a expansion from your opponent, you should actually delay your 2nd Evo until it's time to take your hydrogen and then make it then, because you're going to make it for the purpose of the upgrade. But if your opponent shows you something that looks like he's going to be aggressive, like with your basic scout, and you go, oh, he doesn't have a natural. There's no natural here. What the hell? He could be aggressive. It totally is okay if you make the 2nd Evo faster for the purpose of, instead of just waiting for the upgrade, you could make it for the wall, like the defensive purpose of it, for the immediate purpose. So you could put a queen in the doorway and be like, okay, now I can't die to a flood of whatever.
Right. I noticed that I just completely walled this choke, like, incompetently. I just realized now that's completely wrong, isn't it?
You would, yeah, it definitely is. You'd want to. You have 2 holes in it. You have one hole that's like a 4 grid spot hole, and you have one hole that's a 1 grid spot hole. You would want to. You would have wanted to have walled this diagonally, and that means that you would have wanted to put the Evo chamber north, like top left on the bottom side of the top left part of it, and then connected your wall. Right. I can't see where your mouse is. Sorry.
Less than
it's like basically
Oh,
left of the creep tumor essentially. That is there, and that's like connected to the wall, and then you'd want to extend it down bottom right towards the other wall, and you'd actually want to actually seal both walls on the sides, and you want to leave a gap that is a 1 grid gap in the middle of like 2 buildings that you just made. And the best way to do that is to, I hope this makes sense, but the best way to do that is to always make your first building against the actual wall of the terrain, and then you make your 2nd building 1 grid spot off of your first building.
And I recall this from B2GM as well. Yeah, you just pull it back a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
You always have to base your wall off of your first building is off the wall. Your 2nd building is off your first building, and then your 3rd building just connects to the wall again. However you can make that work. And then you have that, so you create the gap with building 1 and 2, essentially.
Alrighty.
All right.
1 and 2 makes the gap.
Yep.
Got it.
All right, ready?
Sure am.
All right. This will be that was the last time I could pause. I'm out of pauses now, but it's okay.
Really? I didn't know it did that.
Yeah, I only get 3. All right, so now I would say make sure you get one of those queens. Like take your queen and above your hydrogen, put it on your third. Keep injecting, and then I would say right now too, you need to be starting a fourth base already, and then try to fully saturate your third base and your main gas.
Mineral field depleted.
So you want to hit 66 drones ASAP.
Got it.
You gotta also make sure you're really spinning that larva. Larva is God for Zerg. It's the religion that should not be. it's infallible.
Right.
Oh, no, our
So am I
base is
sending
under attack.
these?
How did this happen?
The roaches? You can use them to defend, but do not attack. I think if you're talking about attacking again, you're way too in the mindset of attacking. Okay.
No. I just wanted to know if I'm just gonna rally all drones at this point to that fourth.
Oh, you
Even though
yeah,
they'd
that's
be,
fine.
like, long.
That's fine. Ideally, I actually have a new idea actually. Okay, I think this will make it a little easier. Let's restart really fast.
Depleted.
And I gave you a rundown a little bit about how it's going, okay? And I'm gonna give you a written up thing in Or do you have two monitors really fast before I ask you that, or before I tell you this?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so keep Discord open, and I'm gonna give you a quick write up in Discord that tells and I'll walk you through it as I do it, okay? So you just try to
Sure.
because what I'm gonna do really fast is I'm actually gonna play against you, but I'm not gonna actually like attack you. I'm gonna max out, and let's see how well you can keep up with me. And when I max out, that's when the game will end, and then we'll compare where we're going up different from each other. Okay? It'll be like a time trial versus each other. That way things aren't getting all over the place, and you'll see. Then it's like a real first-hand example of seeing the comparisons, I guess. So the way it'll go is again 16 hatch, 18 pool, 20 gas. Then you would go into full 2 base saturation minus or with 3 gas. So that's the first goal here. And then again, Roach Warren starts after first inject. Then you would go, so the drone count is going to be this, okay? So you can also mouse over in top right. Your drone count, when you start making 6 safety roaches on 41 drones. So as soon as you get 41 drones, you can check it in top right constantly, and you're 5SDing a lot. And you're like, cool, I'm on 41 drones. And then that's when you can make 6 safety roaches. Now, as soon as you make 6 safety roaches, immediately saturate 3 bases to 66 drones ASAP. So saturate third fully. That's what you're going to be doing for that part of the game, okay?
Got it.
Now, same thing again. As soon as, and then also, as you start saturating third, make a Hydra Den plus second Evo. And then after you make the Hydrogen second Evo and you have the third base that's fully saturated, keep this number locked in. At 6 minutes, take fourth base. As soon as 66 drones, make army to 120 supply. At 120 supply, make drones for fourth to 80. We'll just say 80. Exactly, it's fine. Make drones to 80, and then max out on Hydra after that. And then a disclaimer here is expand every 2 minutes roughly, because that is basically how it kind of goes.
Anytime
So
there's like that notification that you're mining out, basically, or
so basically how this is going to go is you're going to be starting your 5th base when your main starts mining out, and you're saturating 4
Right.
bases. So
what did you say? I think it was in BGGM. You had a timing on it, something like in 10 minutes your first base starts
It's
mining
every
out,
8
and 5
minutes.
minutes after that.
So every 8
Okay.
minutes, half the mineral line mines out, and then every 8 minutes again on top of that, the rest of the mineral line mines out and the gas. So your
Right,
gas
okay.
and your close patches that have more have about roughly 16, 17 minutes they last. And then your far patches that have less only last roughly about 8 minutes.
Right. Okay. Makes
Your gas actually lasts the longest, but yeah, it's not too much longer than your closed minerals. But yeah, anyways, that is basically how it'll go. And now I will do this with you again, and I will like I'll just walk you through it really fast myself while I'm doing it.
Mhm.
And if you want to ask me a question, that's okay. Feel free. You can if you want, but just keep in mind you might get super distracted. I would say for you, try to make this as close of a time trial as you can to make it as real of like a experiment for you to see like how well you can keep up with it. Because I'm
Right.
not going to be doing anything too crazy. This is my whole strategy. This entire game is going to be like this. Okay. So you have the build order right there, and again I'll walk you through it as we do it. But my strategy this game is going to be this: hotkey my hatcheries on 5. And the entire time, I'm going to go 5SD, 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 5SD. I'm going to hit that probably 3 times every 5 seconds. Like, it's going to be almost once a second. It's going to be quite often.
What about OVs? How do you work them into your rhythm? Like, is
So,
it like every other pop?
This
or-
is something that there is no perfect sequence to this. And it's something you just need to get comfortable with by looking at the supply.
Right.
The bet, like, I'll tell you when to make overlords this game. I can be like, making overlord. Or actually, no, this doesn't make sense because you might not be at my supply.
Right.
A good way to make overlords is there's 2 reasons or 2 things for it. Okay. Number 1 is if you should ideally be checking top right often with your eyes, being like, how close am I to supply blocking? And if you are within 10 supply, make an overlord every time.
Right.
And then another
like
way to
Dana-
do. Or sorry, go ahead.
Daynang's video building habits where he's like, money, mini map, units.
Yeah, pretty
money.
much. You have to
I don't know
check.
if you've
Yeah,
seen-
no, it's real.
Yeah.
I didn't actually see that, but I know exactly what he means because it's real.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to check.
Right,
like
right.
there are checkpoints on the screen for StarCraft that you need to constantly look at, for sure.
Right.
Another way to do it is to look at the like. There should be 2 reminders. One is physically looking at your supply, going, is it high, and am I going to be okay here? Another reminder that tells you need to probably make an overlord soon is look at your larva inject bar above your hatchery, and if it's halfway done or anywhere over halfway done, you better have some cushion of open supply ready to go because you're gonna build a
Okay.
lot in a second. So if you're like,
That makes a lot of sense.
like you should like if you just checked it and you're like, all right, overlord supply is good, and then let's say you haven't checked it again and you notice your larva inject is 60% of the way done, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to explode my larva again. Check my overlord supply or whatever, my open supply,
Right.
and you're like, oh, and they have 4 open. Shit, I'm at like 24 out of 28. I definitely need to make another one because I'm about to have at the minimum 6 supply pop off these hatcheries. And that
Right.
doesn't even include the larva automation that's just spawning constantly, which could actually be like 8 larvae in total. That's a lot more than 4, right? So
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
2 reminders right there. Definitely want to be checking it a lot. And a final thing I could say about it is try to just maybe make an overlord every time you inject your hatcheries. Like every time you inject, just make an overlord if you're struggling with it.
Yeah. That's definitely a huge point of contention. So, I'll. That's my like takeaways already. I can tell you is that what I didn't gather from BTGM is like certain like cues that you've added into this build order that I didn't like comprehend previously. So like
Sure.
after the injects and such, queuing up the roaches. I was more so making them like prior to 5 minutes,
Okay.
or like 4:30 or something. That was what I was gathering as you like queue to make them, but like that makes a little bit more sense.
Definitely,
to do them
the whole point of beta GM is getting checkpoints of maximizing your minerals and your gas. Minerals priority over gas, but you're maximizing your
Right.
resources, and then you're making a little bit of units to defend it. And then you're maximizing resources and making a little bit of units to defend it. And the reason why you make these little bits of unit is because if your opponent attacks you and you have those little bit of unit, you can then start making more, and those first units you have will buy you time so that he just doesn't run into your mineral lines and just instantly kill you.
Yeah. Okay. So that much I understand. It just seems like I never have enough, but that's probably due to the lack of macro.
Well, here you go.
and missing
You're going to get
injections.
a nice example right here, right now. This will be a live version
Holy
of
shit.
you and me having a time trial. So, again, the last thing I'm going to be doing besides just 5SDing my ass off and following that guide, essentially, that I gave you, is I'm going to be using on my group 2, and again, you can put whatever group you want to put it on. I'm going to have 1 queen on its own control group, and I'm going to, every single time that I inject, spread my creep.
Perfect.
All right.
So we're going queen in the main, queen in the natural, second queen in the natural, then layer in the main after the first queen finishes.
Yep.
Then yeah, okay, I think I got it.
All
I
right.
think I got
So
what's going on.
I get all if you want to just listen to me as well, I'll literally explain what I'm doing as I do it, and you can just feel like if you're keeping up with it or not. It'll be like a build being spoken out, I guess.
Full disclosure, I tried to do this with you when you're like just off the bods.
Sure.
It didn't work for me.
Sure.
I never lined it up
No worries.
properly.
It's okay. It's just something to
Hopefully
practice.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Oh yeah.
All right. Good luck, dude.
Oh fuck yeah. I don't know if you've heard of the spawning tool building advisor.
I think I have. It's like an organized way to look at a build order, I believe.
It's got an on-screen overlay in game as well. One of your builds made it on there.
Nice.
Yeah. Don't know if you knew about that.
It's someone else uploaded it, and it's cool. I don't mind. That's cool.
Was someone else, definitely.
All right. So I made an overlord, and I made a drone already. So drone, overlord, drone.
Okay.
I'm already at 14 supply,
Same.
and I've already stacked all my close mineral patches.
Oop, I got two on the. Oh, there's one there. That's not.
Making drones right now.
Oh, there are two drones.
180 minerals. I'm gonna pull a drone off and send it to my natural. Pulling a drone right now. Go to my natural.
So I was behind on minerals because I made a third drone to 17 supply. Is that wrong?
Yeah, you should be going 16.
Okay.
Yeah, making drones. Making drones. Waiting till 18 to make my pool. Making drones. I'm now at 18. Now, I'm not going to pull off the mineral line for this. I'm just going to let a new drone out of an egg spawn, make the spawning pool for me at 18. So I'm making my pool right now. Making drones again. Making drones. And making a drone right now. Right now. There we go. And now I'm grabbing one of the new drones that just spawned and putting it on a gas. Just made my gas.
Oh, you just made the gas?
I just started my gas.
Okay. Same.
And then I
Nice.
am making drones again.
Did you...
I have not made
queue
an
up a
overlord.
20
Or
Ooh.
no overlord yet. I'm just literally making drones. And now I'm fully saturated on gas and mineral line. Now I've rally pointed my natural base, and I'm still making drones.
Okay, I feel like I have
And-
a messed up mineral line. Yep.
Now I'm gonna make an overlord, because my hatchery gave me some supply, and now I'm making drones again.
Oh my god.
I'm
Okay.
now at 26 out of
missed.
28. Just keep up as best you can.
Alright.
Just try your best. You got this, dude. I believe in you. All right, and then I'm gonna keep making drones. I'm now gonna make another overlord because I'm within 10 supply of blocking here. I don't want to block. Making drones. Making drones. Making drones. Like I'm trying to make drones every 2 seconds.
yeah.
Now I'm gonna make a third queen and a layer right now. Double injecting.
Queens haven't even spawned yet.
And I won't kill your overlord in my base. It's fine. I'll let it leave. And then I'm making nice dance. Making drones again. And now I'm gonna make an overlord because I'm within 10 supply. I'm getting closer again, and my inject's halfway done. I need to definitely have some supply here. Make an overlord, and making drones. I have not yet had my inject pop off, so I have not started my roach horn yet, but soon that will happen. Now inject pops off. I inject again. I make all the larvae. Now I make roach horn and evo. And now I spread creep. And now I take gas. And I'm still making drones.
And I'm still fixing my mineral line. No.
Yeah, it's all good. It just takes practice.
Yeah. Okay, that's the first pop off.
Okay, I'm gonna keep watching
Oh
your
my
supply. Make sure you don't block. Make drones. Make injects. Currently, I'll give you an update. My supply right now is currently at 50 now.
Yeah, I'm sucking a whole lot of. I'm
Okay.
not doing well.
I'm gonna send a drone now to my third base because I'm fully saturated. I'm gonna start my third while pairing that with making roaches.
Oh, this is stressful. Getting supply block.
It's got to keep doing your best. You got this. This is exactly what I'm talking about though with macro. If this is a baseline, if you can't do the baseline, you're gonna everything struggles.
Right.
And doing the baseline just takes practice. Anybody can do the baseline if you practice it enough. Okay, so
I'm, like forgetting my hotkeys.
yeah, no, for sure.
Okay.
It makes it more complicated for sure. I feel you. Okay, I'm making. I have 6 roaches now, and now I'm already making drones for my third, because what's up?
I messed up.
I took my third after I fully saturated my natural, and I started roaches. And now,
Right, okay.
now I am watching my larva on top right, or my unit count, and right now I'm at 55 drones, and I want to go to 66. I can start a hydrogen right now, because I have lots of drones going towards it, and we're just making more and making more. Also, we need another queen for creep spread, because I'm using my current third queen is now injecting my third base. And I'm droning all the way to 66. And right now I'm at 65. I'm almost there.
Yeah. I'm at 60. Got supply blocked again. I think it's clear that what my biggest struggle is. I didn't even make a layer.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like going to be overall fundamental macro of like just getting comfortable with everything. It's
Yeah.
a big thing to overcome, but this is literally the key to getting, you know, into the higher tier of divisions and stuff. So now I'm fully saturated on 3 bases, and now I'm gonna start making hydras and roaches because I'll just make pure hydras because I'm fully 66 drones already. I can start my 4th base with this, and I can now just supply up my hydras up to 120 supply while I start upgrades and all that good stuff.
Alrighty. So I just got to 60 drones. They're not popped yet though. I just made that much.
Yep.
So you said you're at 66 supply already.
I'm at
saturated
100.
on
I'm at
third.
114 supply right now. I'm at 66 drones,
All right.
and now I'm
Let me
making.
see,
Now that I'm back at 120, all I'm gonna do from here now is that I'm gonna make drones for the 4th up to 80, and then I'm gonna max out on hydras.
Right.
So it's just the build guide again. So the build guide that I gave you in the Discord,
Yeah.
that's pretty much, I've now fully done it. Now I'm just in the phase of just making army until I max out essentially.
So sorry, did we take both gases in the third?
You take all 3 gases and the 2 in the 3rd and the 1 in the main once you're at 66.
Okay.
And what I mean by 66 is not supply, that's drones. That's different than supply. And you can check your drones by looking at top right with your mouse. It'll tell you drone icon with a number.
All right.
Evolution complete.
Try not to kill your overlord.
That's all right. He deserves to die. He's unsubordinate.
Command unacceptable.
Poor overlord.
Command unacceptable.
Oh, so wait, yeah, the one in the main. Okay, that makes sense. But like now I'm like mining out my main, and I'm not
Yep.
even.
That's why by 8 minutes now, you'd want to have or soon, you'd want to get ready to start a 5th base. And you could also be transferring your drones in your main a little bit to your 4th base.
This really highlights how bad I really am.
This is the problem with everyone in Platinum and below. I'm dead. Everyone thinks the game is so winnable, and they're like, oh, you know, I gotta just do all these micro fancy things, like using Vipers, for instance. And it's the hardest thing in the world for you to deal with. And then I'm now gonna rewind the game, and the reason why is because I'm already maxed.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
Here, I'm gonna open this up for you on Discord. So now just go to Discord and go to my screen share, and that way you can see my perspective.
Mhm.
And then I will.
I wasn't able to like look at the guide because I was just
No,
like,
dude, so this is like a crash course, and
Okay.
the only reason why I did this, let me tell you the main reason why I want to do this. I wanted to give you a build right now that you could use for yourself in the future, like instead of watching a YouTube video or something like that, and trying to like use that as a reference, you could use this exact thing and if you can do exactly what I did this game, you will not be platinum anymore. 100%.
I like the sounds of that. And okay, so full disclosure, dude, I have like a job where I work from home,
Sure.
and basically talk to clients all day, and in between their messages and responses, I allow myself to do like practice on AI, and so like I'm doing this like 8 hours a day, just pausing it when they message back and so on and
Sure.
so forth. So I feel like I will be able to get this down in like, but when's our next session? The 11th, I think it was.
I think it's like a week from now, yeah, or something like that, or like
Yeah,
almost a week.
I think it is the 11th. I feel like I can get this particular build down by that time, and then
For
we
sure.
have like a good. Yeah, that's this. I feel like just actually what you've shown me here is that like I've had a false provo like I've felt that I was exactly what you said. I felt that I was better than I was just because I understood simple concepts, and now I see that understanding and execution is completely different.
It's just there's a baseline that is hard to understand. Like anyone who is actually under the baseline at the moment doesn't realize that the baseline is what it is. But everyone who's already mastered the baseline, and then the baseline again, it's like, just to say it one more time, it's not even like what I did this game is not even the epitome of what you could do. This is a build that is just safe, easy, and it's a good baseline to get you into diamond. And even if I use this build in diamond, I'd probably win 50% of my games. Like I'm definitely not gonna win every game, but I'd win probably 50% because there are better builds than this that you can. But the thing about the better builds, what makes a build better than this, is mixing in multitasking, and this build has no multitasking. So it's literally a baseline of passive play, and passive play is sometimes abusable, but nobody in platinum can abuse passive play because nobody, like for instance, if you play someone in platinum and they have 90 supply and you have 170, they're gonna attack you and you're gonna be like scratching your head like what just happened? Like it's like a fly flew in my windshield, or like a bug spattered against the windshield there.
Yeah, I forget what race you were playing, but there was something that happened. Oh, it was Protoss, because you were just doing the BTGM thing, then you got attacked, and then you like before the alert was even over, like the fight was over, you didn't even realize it had happened.
Yeah, it's exactly that's how it should be. That's having a good baseline. So if we go through it now really fast here, let's compare what we're both doing. And we can do it in like, for instance, we'll do it in like the build thing here. We'll just watch build order for just the first part here.
Oh God.
So this is why you need to like. So one of the biggest tricks. This is huge. One of the biggest tricks you need to do to make yourself faster at StarCraft and be able to do a baseline is hit commands before they're available. Like for instance, make a drone. If your goal is to make a drone, try to make a drone when you're at 10 minerals. When you're at 25 minerals, when you're at 40 minerals. One of the biggest, I've been a gamer my entire life, and there is something that develops in a player when they're really good at something, and something that develops in a player, or that hasn't developed yet in a player when they're new to something. And it's a new player always tries to do things once they can do it, which means they miss the timing to do it a lot. And when you're a really good player, you'll know what you're going to do before you do it, and you're spamming it before you get there. So what happens is
the game has just started and the clock is at 0 and you have 0 minerals and 13 supply with the drone building.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's just it's having a plan of execution, and this is something that comes from experience. So even if you make mistakes doing this and you're like, fuck, I supply block because I just made too many drones. I made too many drones. That's okay. It's better to be using everything. Like obviously, it's not like perfect to supply block. And I would prefer you didn't do it in the long run, but it's better to just use your larva as well rather than not use it at all. So just having, getting your fingers rolling on the keyboard and like getting shit going, for sure is gonna help you. So like you can see in the first drone here, your first drone already is 2 seconds behind.
Way behind.
Yeah, and what that's a huge deal because not only like the 2 second on that one drone is not that big of a deal, but now your larva is forever 2 seconds behind. Well, like the larva cannot generate if there's already 3 on the hatchery, so you wasted 3 seconds essentially of, or almost like 2 seconds actually, of larva generation. That's okay. It's totally fine. I'm not again. Don't get personally attacked here. It's totally fine. It's just
no.
Yeah, it's something that you'll develop over time for sure. All right, and then
I think that like I've been playing for a long time, but like I've never did or have never taken a very serious approach to laddering. It was
Yeah.
always just casual.
Sure. No,
And,
that's totally fine.
I've always loved the game.
Yeah, no, I mean keep it that way and have fun with it. When you take it super serious, you do kill some of the fun sometimes for yourself because it becomes way more try hard. There is
Yeah.
something to be said about just enjoying a game. That's something
Yeah.
that people forget sometimes. But now back to the serious side of things.
Yeah.
Notice how you have 65 minerals. That is an indicator that you're not 5SDing enough. Because you're
Absolutely.
like I tried to make a drone at 20, like at 30, at 40, and then finally at 50, it just goes. But if your money ever
Right.
goes above 50, like 55, 65, that's just like probably now 1 second to 2 seconds that are starting to go by where you're not making a drone again. And then you made a drone at
Right.
80 because you right when you made it you have 30. So that's like right now you're almost 1 second behind. So it wasn't too bad, but yeah. For that one. But now let's see when the Overlord spawns, right? Like I'm already like watch the second my supply, the number on the right side, it hits above 14. The immediate reaction to it is going to be this one goes to 16. It's going to happen like instantaneously. And you want to know why? It's because I'm
So you're already trying to do it.
I'm exactly. I already
Yeah.
went 5 and I'm holding down the D key right now. I'm just holding it down.
Oh.
Because if you hold down the key, it repeats make drone like that. Like every one of those Ds is saying make a drone, make a drone, make a drone, make a drone. And
Yeah, I did my repeat delay thing from the first video of BTGM as per your instructions.
nice, it helps
That
a lot.
helped a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it does, yeah.
And then, so you'll notice, like, watch my hatchery, for instance. Watch as soon as your Overlord spawns, watch my larva here. My Overlord's going to spawn, and immediate,
Blam.
like, as not even full flight, it's like popped it barely out of the egg, and I already have eggs going up. And then, if you,
Yeah.
we'll see the Overlord over here for you. Let's see what happens. Overlord spawns. And then,
Plop, plop.
it was okay. It was not too late, though. That's actually respectable still. You still made it within, like, 1 second of the Overlord popping, so that's still decent.
Right.
But it's continuous repeated like attempts at making the stuff. And now you can see I'm at 180s,
Right.
so now I'm going to rip a drone off the mineral line because it'll perfectly set up the natural.
5
And,
SD5 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 SD5
This is that
SD.
snowball effect you were talking about, because now I'm behind on my minerals because I was a few seconds late on the initial drone.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. You're
Oh.
already right now you're already 20 minerals behind me because if I would have made a drone, I'd be at 140 and you're at 120. So that's just mineral stacking the difference there. And also exactly what you said, the difference of my drone mining a little bit longer than yours did. And then yeah, ideally you don't want to go for a 17 hatch either, and the reason why is because 16 hatch is easier to defend if you get attacked, and it lines up better with this build with your queen timing being 2 queens at once out of your, instead of having your lopsided queens where it's like, okay, I made the queen in the main, but the one in the natural has to wait for like 4 seconds and then I can make the queen in the natural. It makes everything
Thankful for that
pair easier.
explanation, because I've always wondered that, like, what the difference between the 16 and 17 hatch would
So-
be, because I've seen standard play with both.
Overall, just to throw it out there, the earlier something is, the safer it will be, and the later something is, the greedier it will be. And the build, the way this is designed, is this is supposed to just be very casual, safe, passive greed. So it's not full, like, crazy greed, where it's like you're going to die every fucking turn, but it's still greedy, but it's just like a really safe form of it, which is why I tell you to take a hatchery faster.
Right.
Because it'll help you a little bit if you're getting like 12 pulled, or if you're getting proxy racks or something like that. Like if someone's cannon rushing you, it'll help you set
Those
things
are the-
up a little faster.
That was another thing. It's like the cheese, I feel like in these leagues is so rampant that, like, I
It'll
threw
only
my
get
hands
worse.
up in the air and said,
It'll only get worse.
"Oh God."
You play like
And you
90,
loco and you-
95% of your games will be cheese in in like Masters or High Diamond. It's actually crazy.
I blame Loco's fast roach max video. Everyone's doing that
Yeah.
2-base roach play now.
Nice.
I
Fucking
don't like
loco.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Okay, so now I'm at
So you can see like right now.
I'm behind in
you-
supply.
Yeah, it's because the reason why is because I mean you did an 18 pool, which is fine, but you have less money than I do, and it's just because these are little additions that keep adding up over time, and right now I have more money than you do to be able to afford more larvae, spending more larvae. So you have 1 larva on the hatchery still that you actually can't afford yet, whereas I could. So now I'm a little bit even further ahead of you on minerals. I'm actually like 30 minerals ahead or something like that right now.
This is like these are like the differences that make or break games for like mirror matches like Cyril and Rayner that are just like doing everything at the same time. Like the minuscule differences are probably
But
the game changers in that
for
level
sure.
of play.
But the thing about those is this is what everyone at StarCraft needs to understand, because again, everyone thinks that this applies to all leagues, but the only way something like this would happen to players like Cyril or Rayner is if one of them was aggressive and actually disrupted the other person. But if neither one of them was aggressive, neither one would be behind for any reason, because they could both have a perfect baseline. But if you don't have a perfect baseline and you're falling behind by default, it only means that if you even add more on top of that, like more, now you start going into the multitasking realm before you have a perfect baseline, that your baseline is going to no longer, it's going to be like super fucking off.
Right.
There is zero, like, because here's, you want to know the actual thing. This is something about StarCraft 2 that is real, and basically this is a concept that you shouldn't even give a shit about, but it's just interesting to know this. Zerg is the only race that gets fucked over by spawn locations, and you actually have the advantage of this game over me. And the reason why that makes sense is because your larva spawns on the side of the minerals, and my larva spawns opposite of the mineral line. So I actually have a negative to you in this game. So if we both had perfect baselines, you should actually be reversed with me, where you should be a tiny bit ahead, because my drones have to walk about 1 second longer than yours every time to get to the mineral line. The reason why I have
heard of this.
Yeah, I have no idea why
I just
Blizzard
didn't
has
understand it.
I have no idea why Blizzard has never changed this, because it's fucking dumb. It makes mirror matchup Zerg games have a tiny advantage for the player who spawns on the south side of the map every single time, but it's not that big of a deal. It's very mitigatable. It's not like gonna literally make the win or the loss most of the time. It does give a slight edge though to one of the players, like by like very small percentage. But yeah, I mean, like you can see, even though I'm the one on the top, I still have a higher baseline, and it's only because I've had a perfect production baseline, and yours has had some hiccups here and there. And it's just how it goes, right? It's just trying to master it. Overall, though, I'm not gonna. I would say this. Overall, the first 90 seconds of the game, you still get like an A. If I'm gonna grade you, I would still give you like an A, because it's still close enough. It's not the best, but it's not. It's definitely not bad for now. Okay.
Yeah. We just give it.
No, for sure. It's gonna. I know it starts falling apart, because I saw the end supply.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just have 19 drones in the middle line, and we don't touch it until we get our gas up. You have the same thing.
That's what I
Good job.
didn't understand. Oh, okay.
It's good. Like, my gas is a tiny bit faster than yours, because you're starting to fall behind a little bit here. But the fact that you're not sitting there just waiting to mine it is better. Or it's better that you're mining minerals right now, because you're actually getting effectiveness with your drones, is what I'm saying. So that's good that you have 19 to 16 on the mineral line. But as soon as soon as the gas is done, you need to immediately saturate that thing. And you do.
I'm worried that I transfer them to the natural instead. Or do I set? Oh, thank
No,
God.
you did the gas. And then
okay.
right now, I would say you need to grab one of your drones and put it to just one drone, put it to the natural, so it gets perfect efficiency now, because your natural is going to finish. It's what we just did right here. So we have 16 and one drone. You need to do the same thing. So these are things where you're starting to fall behind now. And
Right.
Your pool being a tiny bit late now is going to make your queens a little bit late. We already have 2 seconds on our queens. So now you're not making a queen. And notice how what I said, we'll back it up just for a quick sec. Watch your pool finishing. And your pool is also a little bit late, right? Because our pool is finishing right now. And your pool is still 2 seconds from being done. And then, so like your pool was for no reason a little bit later than it should have been. I guess you could say I had a tiny bit more money, but it's okay. But now, as we're talking about hatchery timings, you can see your pool's finishing, and this is what I talked about with the queens earlier. You could start a queen right here right now, but this hatchery is not going to be done for 5 seconds. So this is where the lopsided queens come out, and that's why 16 hatch is just more efficient for you. And you can see my queens are both starting exactly at the same time. So there's no lopsided there. That's it just makes it cleaner and easier. And then your pool's done, right? And you're still not making a queen. Now your natural is finished, and you're not making queens. So this is a huge deal for you. Now,
Yes, where I started falling.
that A grade is no longer an A grade. This is now massive for you. This was your biggest downfall so far in this game. Another big downfall for you is that you're just leaving drones oversaturated, and you can see that they're just being idiots running around now, and they're doing really crappy mining.
Derping,
Yeah, and there you go. You pulled a couple off. Okay, good job. So you did it a little bit late, but you did it eventually. And now you can see your gas is a little bit behind mine in the top right because things are just a little bit late, right? So now as soon as my queen's done, we already have enough gas with the way this build went for a layer. So it worked out perfectly. And that's all we need it for right now. So your layer is now also going to be late, not only because of the queen, but because of all the reasons together. Okay, and then we're both making drones. Supply now is a little bit an advantage of us, and the reason why it's an advantage of us is because you wanted to dance, right?
Right.
And you're not spinning your larva. You have 3 larvae on the main,
sorry.
and then you have 2 on the natural.
I didn't even hit the dance right. Put a period
You're all
instead
good.
of a forward slash.
But that's just a moment where you definitely need to make sure you're making your overlords, because, and like you said before, you supply block a lot. Really, just try your hardest to like watch the supply on top right, and really try to just pay attention to like your existing larva, because just know every unit you're gonna make, except for a roach or a queen, is 1 supply in the early game, and you're not making hydras anyways until you're already at a point where you're gonna be making like 4 overlords at a time. So let me say this too, because you might not understand, you might not know this. You're going to be making about 1 overlord, or maybe 2 if you fall behind on it. But realistically, you're going to be making about 1 overlord per round every time you're within about like 10 supply of your max, or like every time you start an inject, make an overlord. And then, so you're probably going to be making an overlord probably once every like 25 seconds or so, or like once every 20 seconds, realistically. But as soon as you fully saturate your 3rd base, as soon as that's fully saturated, you are going to be making probably like 3 to 4 overlords every inject cycle. And the reason why is because you have, number 1, you have more hatcheries being injected at that point in the game. And number 2, you're making much heavier supply costing units than you were before. You're making actual army units now that cost 2 supply per, rather than drones that give you 1 supply per.
Right.
So the only way you're not going to block is if you make more overlords faster, and then obviously you're done making overlords once you have max supply.
Right. Yeah. See, my big how I was playing was like I would have a bunch of larvae and I'd have like little supply, and then I'd just spam V, and then be like, okay, I'm good for a while, and then I'd forget again.
That's not good.
So
Yeah, that's not good.
terrible. Yeah.
And then what that does is it makes it's a bad habit generator right there, because it makes you forget to macro. You need to be macroing every 5 seconds, or like honestly, I macro every 1 second, and it's not even something I think about. I've done it so much that I macro every second in the game, and the only time that there is maybe instead of macroing every second, I'll macro instead every like 5 seconds, is when I get in the middle of a battle, where I'm like microing, setting up some Ling Bane or whatever, or setting up like a Roach Ravager attack, and then as it's engaging, I make units, and then I go right back to microing my army. Like you need to be macroing so. StarCraft 2 is a game of macro, and if it's not being done consistently, you fall behind like crazy. And that's the major difference of what makes someone really high rated or someone lower rated in general.
Right.
Because you can see like right now, there's already an 8 supply discrepancy, right? And my money is always scraping the bottom of the barrel because I'm spinning it as I get it. You have almost 1,000 banked up right now, which is definitely meaning just you're not spinning as fast as you could be. So you're definitely falling behind
drop
now.
a 3rd yet.
And like if you look at production tab in top left, right? You have nothing versus a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is another moment where you're just not paying attention to overlords. And this is right here. This is now kind of like a D, I would say, for you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Performance anxiety.
No, I get it, dude. Anyone out there, like there's a lot of people that I've coached already before too that can 100% relate to you on that. That's why I tell people bring replays if you feel like it's gonna be, like I offer the option for replays because then you don't have to actually play live in front of an audience.
It's okay.
And I feel like everyone gets it too. Like playing on the pressure, like on the spot with pressure, is definitely a lot harder than just doing your own thing.
Word. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah. But now, so we can see your build is clearly falling off, and it's because the final piece I'll say is let's just do this for fun, okay? I mean, we can kind of see it already, but you right now have 11 larvae, right? And I have 4. And if we talk about buildings, so we're gonna add this up really fast. We're gonna add up things really fast. So we have 3 queens versus 2. That is kind of we're talking about larvae though, so that is irrelevant. That doesn't matter because the queen does not cost larvae. But Let's talk about actual larva things here. These matter, and we're also going to add in buildings because that also matters because those used to be drones. So right now, for buildings, structures-wise, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings. And
Right.
you have 5, 6 if you include the ones in production, right? And for buildings, so you have 6 buildings for you, which is, that's also, essentially that's 6 drones that we're going to add on for you. That's larva that you could have had. And for me, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, because there's 1 hatchery in production. So 9 buildings for me. So that's the equivalent of 9 drones. And now for overall larva, you have 32 plus 11, which is 43, plus 9, or sorry, plus 6, which is 49, plus 3 overlords, which is 52, plus your production of overlords, which is 56. So you have, so far this whole game, you've worked with 56 larvae. This is important to know this, because this is why I tell people not to larva block, ever, because it makes you not have larva. And you larva blocked a lot this game, when you spy blocked a couple times there, and you just had like a ton of larvae sitting there. Now let's add up my larva really fast. We have 4 plus 43, which is 47, plus 9, which is 56, plus 6 more for the overlords, which is 62, plus another roach here, which is 63. So already in this game, you are, what is that? That's 7 larvae behind me. In the first 4 minutes of this game, you're already 7 larvae behind. And that's also, if we talk about the injects that are popping off, I have another 6 larvae coming off in about 3 seconds. And yours just started as well. So it's about to get even more extreme. So it's about to be, instead of just 7, it's about to turn into 13. So that's the 13 being at a 13 larva disadvantage in the first like 4 minutes and 10 seconds of the game is big time. That's a lot of shit. That's, if you were to make roaches with that, that's 26 supply. That's like, or the drones is 13 supply, obviously. That's just it's a lot, and that is something that you cannot let happen, because this is very avoidable if you are macroing flawlessly. And this, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, this is you know what this is basically like? Imagine if I came into your mineral line, and I killed your whole mineral line, and then I left. It's kind of like that would have just happened to you, because you're 13 larvae down. So imagine if all these drones just got deleted. You'd be like, oh fuck. Well, that's like 13 units that I just don't have anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely shocking how inefficient. Like, it's just idle time, I think. And once I realized that I was falling behind, I kind of like panicked and stopped doing the things. But definitely, like, this is probably something even to a worse degree. It would happen in an actual game, because I would probably be getting like annoyed with reapers or something like this.
Sure.
So it's like, it's probably even worse when it comes to live play. So
And
to highlight these things is pretty powerful.
for sure. And one of the big things too is your layer hasn't even started yet. So not only do we have is there like larva advantages over here for me, but there was an added cost of layer with tech, because now I have roach speed that is already done. I have a +1 upgrade that is almost done, which means I can start +2 now. And I already have hydrogen that is finishing right now, and you have not started a layer yet. So that's brutal. And also your creep spread is not started yet, because your 3rd queen is just now starting, and it's in a supply block.
Yeah.
And our creep is already connected to our 3rd right as it finishes. So, and these drones all got made like, they all got made like this mineral line just got saturated for real. It's the first inject this hatchery has had, and it's only been active for like about 7 seconds-ish. So, because you can tell by the creep is like still fresh off the hatchery. So this is just like, it's like if you have this kind of a setup going on for yourself, imagine how much more defensible you'd be. Like, imagine if we switch spots right now in the game, right? And we have this versus this. And then we have this like tech with layer and hydrogen versus this with your +1's similar to mine. I'm at 89, you're at 71, but you have no roach speed and you have no layer. So like that is so much mobility that you don't have either. So it's brutal for you, right? The going from there. And now, if you remember what I was saying, where I said, as soon as you get to like 66 drones, you start like exploding. I was saying this just a minute ago with the overlord, how you pace the overlords. Instead of making like 1 at a time, now you're making like 3 or 4 at a time, because you're really exploding your units now with like massive like hydra counts and shit like that.
Yeah.
You're going to watch I'm currently 25 ahead of you. You're going to see over the next like 2 minutes of this game, it's going to fucking skyrocket. And the reason why is because we very efficiently got our mineral count where we wanted it to be. And it's going to, the faster you can do this, the faster you can generate. When the faster you can generate, the faster you can spend. Because you can spin, like, it'd be like saying, you know, like you're doing, like, you're in Vegas and you're spinning slot machines, but you're only getting, like, you know, someone's giving you like $100 every 10 minutes to spin it and you keep losing it. But what if they're giving you $100 every fucking second? And you're like, spin. So you can definitely, the faster you have stuff, the faster you can spin stuff. So it's all about, it really is trying to do your best to generate as fast as you can, which means building drones without any type of hiccups in your build.
Right. Which sounds simple enough, but
Yeah. Is now, as you can
breaking
see,
it.
the unit production, I'm on the bottom here, so the unit production has now begun. I'm starting to build, I have my 4th base started because we're already fully saturated, and we're already also at 6 minutes, and you want to be expanding about every 2 minutes. And now the hydro count has begun, and supply is exploding here. So it's no longer 20 supply, it's now 50 supply difference here.
Yeah. So when you say every 2 minutes, you mean from like game beginning? So like by 2 minutes I have my natural, by 4 minutes I have my third.
So it's kind of around like your 3rd base and beyond. Your natural is kind of based off the opener, because you're definitely expanding before 2 minutes. When we go 16 hatch, you're expanding by like 50 seconds.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah.
you should be starting your 3rd base by roughly around 4 minutes. Like you'll notice in this game, if we go back to there really fast, that's roughly when I'm like getting fully saturated on my natural. So
At 4.
yeah, like we'll see it right here. This is why I want to give you this replay, because it gives you actual up to date live version of whatever I just did here. So I start sending my drone down around 4 minutes, and I'm fully saturated. And then I have my, so at like 350, I sent my drone over there, like 345, and right at 359, I took my 3rd base. So this is 3rd base going down right around 4 minutes. So then it's pacing really well now, because now I'm going to be able to saturate it really fast right after I make my initial roaches here. So as soon as I start making drones, like right now, they only have to take like 1 long distance mining trip, and then they're already mining the base. And then the base is done. And now it's, as soon as it has, the first 10 drones are on it, only like 3 drones went back and mined minerals, and the rest of them are just here, just mining it up. So that's like, and if we look, compare mineral income, it's just going to explode me like real crazy here. And then if we go now to 6 minutes, you'll notice at 6 minutes, my 4th base should be starting, like really close to that. There you go, right exactly at 6 minutes. So, and then my 5th base would be starting at 8 minutes. And it would just keep happening over and over and over like this. 2 minute rule is huge, because it allows you to keep maintaining all your active mining and be really healthy and all that stuff.
So we want to like stop drone production around like 80 and keep it there. Like if you say give or take lose some in during some harassment.
So how
the game extends.
I would ask you, how long do you actually keep tabs on top right here? Like to see your drone count.
Like I do try to take a look at it once like it gets to, like if you pulled up a replay of mine, you'd see that I'm like, I'll look at it and then I'll like make 3 drones and rally them to an empty gas or something like this. Like I'll rally the drones from like wherever base, and I think that's a problem. Like I'll hit my 5 and then I'll SD it. Say I need like 3 drones to pick up or to saturate like the 3rd or something. So I'll just hit 5. Then I'll queue up 3 drones and I'll send them to the line. Then I'll look at the supply.
Sure.
And I'll be like, okay, what does that put me to? So anytime I make drones, I kind of look. But
there are just 3 key numbers you need to understand, which is when you make units. The first number is 41 drones, and that is when you make 6 roaches. That's like your initial safety roaches. The second number is 66 drones, and that is when you supply up to whatever you have. Doesn't matter if your roaches died or whatever. Go up to 120 supply.
got it.
Off of 66 drones. And then the last number is 80 drones. You just nonstop make army the entire game. And if this is 80 to 85, anywhere in there, that's fine.
Right. I remember when you said like if you go through an engagement, right, and you see that you're up against like, you know, there's a couple of Colossus, maybe a couple of Mortal, just like something that's really gonna beat up a ground army, you should get some roaches to tank in front.
Yeah,
is
that's still good.
That's still relevant?
Yeah, that's still good.
Okay.
You could, I mean, honestly, the only reason why I tell you to make hydras, genuinely, coming from my perspective, it's because you might get attacked by air and you might make roaches and die.
Obligatory shoot up unit.
Exactly. It's going to make your life easier if you're not scouting, and in case you fight air, you won't die.
Right. Which Sky Toss is just like rampant right
And
now.
that's also why I was saying that this is a good baseline as well. And it's not even the epitome of what the best build could be, because if I made pure roaches this game, I could have probably maxed out at 7.5 minutes. Like, it's actually fucking nuts because they're just cheaper. But this build is just a super solid baseline of, like, again, if you can do this, this is better than any platinum player can do. This is like, if you can do exactly what I'm doing here, you've basically taken steroids in platinum, and then you're just gonna have an unfair advantage over everybody. That's basically what it is.
That's kind of my goal, because I just stopped laddering once I started to notice my loss count go up, because I know that I was clearly hitting a point where it's like, okay, almost everyone I'm playing is better than me. So
Yeah.
that's what kind of like, I'm like, screw it, I'm I'm calling in the big guns. Dan, get over here. So but yeah, this is gonna help. Question: if you want, like, it's all based on like what's easier for you, because we already have the second session booked, and the other two are just kind of in the air. If you want to extend this session and the other session, like, just do 2 and 2, if it makes it easier for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind if you want to do that instead. I don't have any.
Well, I mean,
I have no one else booked after you today, so I would just be laddering. I don't mind if we turn this into a 2-hour session.
Super. Because then maybe I can just jump in and try this again and see if I can do it a little bit better.
I'll have you.
Okay.
You want to play against AI, or do you want to play against a person? It's your call. There's no bad answer here.
Let's just jump into like a person, like a PvP.
Okay. Okay. So guys from stream, anyone? I asked a little bit earlier, and sorry if you guys got logged in and I didn't end up using you yet. But if you guys are like platinum level, or like gold, plat, anywhere, like I would say high gold or anywhere in plat, that'd be great, just for the sake of time, so we're not waiting forever for someone to get on of the exact range. Just log in and let me know, and then we'll invite you to a game, and we'll just have you do. You can do whatever you want. I'd love to play. Log in, Julian. Let's go. Thanks, man. But yeah, so essentially, I'll run you through the build again, and I'll try not to. I'm not gonna really try to describe like factors of the build to you, rather than like I'm not gonna explain the build the entire time. I'll just give you like, do this. You should do this now. Now do this. Now do this. So you're like trying to keep on point with it as much as possible, because the more I explain to you, the more it'll distract the shit out of you, and you'll be like, okay, well, now Vibe's explaining concepts to me, and I forgot to fucking make overlords. But
concepts are good.
Yeah, like, it's the goal that you're going to be wanting to look for. This is the homework assignment I would give you, okay? This is your homework, that taking this away from this lesson, if you can do this by the next time we talk, I will be very impressed. If you can max out faster than 8:30, you're definitely going to smash platinum players. If you can max out before 9 minutes, something to work with there, but you can definitely do it faster, but it's still good, and that would still definitely be improvement. But if you cannot max out faster than 9 minutes, then I would so this is something you should do on your own when we're no longer talking. Definitely take another pass on the build and try to understand what you're missing. Like, find out where you're going wrong, just like this one right here. Like, we can tell when you went wrong was the first time your queens were made. That was when it all started going downhill. And then you didn't make overlords, and then it went deeper and deeper and deeper. But if you can't max out faster than 9 minutes, if you're anything 9 minutes or above, even if it's 9 minutes and 2 seconds, that is, in my opinion, unacceptable for you. You should view it that way, and it means you're going to lose a lot of games if that's like your standard, and you could definitely clean it up. But if you can max out faster than 8:30, you're going to win probably like a good chunk of your games from now on if you can consistently do that. All right. So save that replay for sure, because you have it since you were in the game. Definitely don't lose it, and use that as your own reference of your quota, because that was like an 8:14 max. And if you can do that, I'll be like, God damn, you're diamond right now.
I'll cherish this replay forever.
Nice, dude. All right, so Julian, your name is Simple. Okay, so Julian, go ahead and send me a message really fast. You can do it through the GM list. That'll be probably the easiest way, and I'll invite you to the party. So if you just open up your profile, you left click top right, and then click ladders, and then click Grandmaster in the same spot. I'm currently rank 160 at the moment. And then once I see you, I'll invite you. All right, I'll start up another game too while we're waiting. Just do the same map.
All right. Word.
Also, this is something I would say too. Since we're turning this into a 2-hour lesson, I would say my recommendation to you would be we should cancel the next lesson we scheduled for the 11th, I think it was. And
Extend
then
it.
we should just reschedule for like maybe like the 20th or like the 15th or something, maybe like a little bit longer. That way you have more time to consume this and absorb it.
That's fine.
That would
I
be
agree.
my recommendation. That's like my doctor prescription to you. I think it would
Got
be
it.
best to do that. That way you're
Doctor
getting,
vibe.
because I want you to get the most out of what you're getting, right? I don't want you to feel rushed and be like, well, I'm learning the same thing I learned last time, because it's like it's just too close together.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
All right. I'll ask him if he's ready. Are you ready as well right now?
I am.
Okay. I'll ask him if he's ready. Julian, you ready?
To quote Vibe, he said, "A player that plays sloppy but fast is better than a player that's playing precise but slow."
That's true.
So I'll try less to like focus on doing everything perfect and just like remember to be fast.
The only thing that needs to be
sounds reasonable.
precise, the only thing that needs to be precise about how you place it down and like making sure that's accurate is your wall. But I would say
wall
this
as well.
game, fuck it. Don't even worry about your wall. Just plant that shit down wherever you want to put it. Just
I'm
try-
gonna plan it.
okay. I want to see it. All right.
All right.
I'll only tell you build order for now, and I'll if I see you slipping, I'll tell you what to do.
All right, sounds good. My ZVZ is like 63%. It's one of my best matches.
Nice. Drone.
Oh, look, fun have.
Drone Joe. Or Overlord.
Yep.
Do you know how to do a gas trick?
Oh, shit. Yep. Oh,
you-
what's going on with these drones?
Do a gas trick right
Jeez,
now.
What?
Cancel gas.
Double?
No, just one.
I honestly thought I queued up that
No worries.
Overlord.
Just stay
Must have
focused. You're all,
misclicked.
just keep focused, baby. Drones. Send a drone to natural right now for a hatchery. Do not make anything until hatchery. Hatchery. Drone. Droney boy.
Ah,
Save for a pool. Oh, you went a little too high. It's okay. Save for pool.
oh no.
It's okay. Just save your money now for a spawning pool. Build it with one of the new drones popping out of the hatchery. Like, grab this one. Or that one. Either one. Good. Make a
I
pool.
missed.
It's okay. Drones. 20 gas. Drones. One more. Now, you can make a gas right now with the drone. It's fine. Nice. Make drones again. Keep making drones. Do not make an overlord. Make an overlord at your natural when your natural's done. Or at your main. Just make it when the natural finishes. Dude, so keep droning. Drone. Saturate your gas. Drone again.
And take one of these guys down here.
Yeah, you can send drones to your natural now. Drone again. Send another one down. And re-rally point your hatchery.
Right. Oops.
There you go. Keep droning. Now make one overlord and 2 queens. Drone again.
Okay. I swear this game I've tried like 3 times to make something that didn't happen.
Drone again.
I think I need to take queen off D. I have it for D.
Yeah, it's
kinda
definitely.
like-
I would not prefer that as well. Okay. Overlord again now. Are you? No. You made 2. Okay. Drones. Just make drones. I didn't see you made 2.
Neither did I.
Okay. Make another queen at your natural. Make a layer in your main. Keep droning, as well. layer in main, and inject both hatcheries. Drone,
And then
drone,
I
drone.
remember someone telling me to make an OV when I inject. So
You're
I did
good. I'll
that.
take an overlord. It's okay. You're still good.
Okay.
Once you're within 10, so now make an overlord.
I'll leave that alone because I already queued one up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're good. Yeah. Okay. Make drones. Keep droning. Keep droning. Keep droning. Keep it droning. Droning.
Yeah, I
Droning.
gotta change that queen key. It's making queens when I don't want it to.
Yeah. Keep droning right now. Big time drone. Make all
Big time
drones. All
drone.
drones. All
Yep.
okay. And then make a roach warren, evo chamber, 2 gases, and an overlord. So evo, roach warren, 2 gas, overlord, drones, and take a drone off your natural and go take your third. Like send it to your third, but don't build it yet. Just send it to your third. 1 drone.
Triangle third?
Either third. I don't care which one it is.
Okay.
Make drones.
I don't like triangle.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm totally fine with you taking the horizontal one. Okay, saturate your gas and build your third. Build that third base. Make like 2 overlords. And make 6 roaches. Keep injecting your hatcheries. You're missing injects in your main.
Yes.
Start weapons, missile weapons, and roach speed when you can. And keep injecting. And make
Shit.
2 more roaches when your overlord pops. Make 2 more roaches now. And then make drones again. And make another queen right now at your natural. Send 1 drone back to your main from your natural. And rally point all your hatcheries to your third right now. All hatcheries to third and make drones. Just so you know, you're barely ahead right now. You're still beating this guy, but you're barely ahead. Keep making drones. Keep injecting. You're falling. Right now your injects are your worst part. They're falling. You're already missing a full inject. So you can queue it up even for this next round right here. Like do another one right now.
Yep.
There you go. Keep droning. You got to drone for probably the next 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And also start +1 missile weapons and roach speed on your upgrades when you can. Get that queen.
You gotta change that queen.
Yeah. Get that. Also, yeah, you were chasing with your roaches and stuff for a while there. I don't want to do that.
Negative.
Take your roach or take your queen to your third base and start injecting it. One of them, like you're not extra queen at the natural or something. Keep making drones and make an overlord. Make like 2 overlords right now because you're gonna block because you have a lot of larvae now. Lots of drones.
Hey, I'm at 63. I'm almost there.
Yep. And then take your hydrogen, and then all of your keep making drones. Take your hydrogen and all of your gases now. So gas in the main, hydrogen, and then 2 gases at natural, and also take your 4th base because you're wanting to do that at 6 minutes. So wherever you want to put it is fine. Does not have to be at a certain location. Just take a 4th base at a mineral line nearby. There you go. 1 more drone, and then make hydras and make like 3 overlords again, and make hydras after 1 drone. Actually, you got to make 2 drones. Sorry, you got to make 2 because you just built a hatchery too. So 2 drones, mass hydras, and then start making hydras now, and then get your evo chamber as well. Your second evo chamber.
Right.
And then saturate your gases properly. Like you have fix your mineral lines and stuff. Like send 3 off your natural to your third.
Yep.
To the gas.
Saw that.
So
And then this
3
2 from the main to the 4th.
Yeah. Make sure you have 3 drones going on the gas as well at your third. You have 19 out of 16 on the mineral line right now.
Oh.
And then make overlords again right now and make drones again. So you want to stop at 120, you went to 130. It's okay. But you want to go to drones now to 80. So you need 14 more drones. And those all should be rallied now to the 4th base. So mass drones.
I just got
And
we
we just made hydras again too, unfortunately. It's okay.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're all good. Make like 2 more overlords honestly right now. That way you can not spy block for a sec. And then make drones as in like right now. You can do it now. Drones priority. inject your hatcheries. Okay, you just made a lot of drones. Good. Now,
That's 80.
yep, get your upgrades going. Get missile weapons, level 2, Carapace. Get Hydra upgrades on your Hydrogen at your third base. Both of them, just start both at the same time. It's fine. Make like 3 more Overlords again. Do your Hydra upgrades priority first here really fast. Spend your Larva by making like 3 more Overlords and now make mass Hydras. Just max out on Hydras. So more Overlords as well. Sorry, you did it. Okay, sorry, I see it in production, but yeah, sorry, it's all good. And then just make Hydras when your ship pops up. Now you can take that 4th queen as well. That's your creep queen, and it can go for injecting your 4th base. And now you'd also want to start your 5th base, ideally by 8 minutes, but it's a little bit late, but it's okay. You wanted to get your 4th base set up first, and also take your gas at your 4th. But take another expansion and make Hydras. Mass out on Hydras. No more drones. You're good on drones. You have 87 drones now. So now you're just transferring drones around, like your main base to your 4th and stuff. Make Hydras again. Max out. There you go. You maxed out at 9 minutes and 23 seconds.
Super duper.
So that's a little under par what we want, but I mean, you got time to work on it, right? That's why I want you to do this for a while. Just really, really try to get that under a 9-minute threshold, ideally under 8:30. And now if you can, but now look, he's attacking you too, and now this is now the Selector Army, just attack him, and then this is now just straight up B2G him. And try now. You need to keep tabs on top right. If your drone count drops under 80, remake the difference. And right now you're under by 15. Now 16. So I would say drones first. Make like 16 drones first. Put them on the 3rd again. And then make units. And now you can also have your army select all army and A-move his base. So a few more, like select army, A-move around his base. It's fine. And then make like another 5 drones for your 3rd. And make sure you rally to your 3rd because they're all going to go to your 4th otherwise. Oh, you did the eggs. Okay, good. Okay, like 5 more drones. You made 6. That's good. Now, make Hydras again. Hydras and Roaches. You can also start an infestation pit and get ready to go hive. But just make sure you're injecting priority. Like I don't want you looking at that army at all. If you're looking ever at it, never. Even when you get in combat, don't even look at it.
Your forces are
you hear Day 9 telling you your force attack. Don't fucking look at it. Don't you dare look at that. Just make
Don't
Roaches.
forget the macro.
Make Roaches and make Hydras and inject your bases.
All right. Or in this case, transfuse, the one that's about to die.
No, you don't, just fuck that. Just inject. No, looking at your army.
Don't mean to interrupt.
A move is you can shift command his base, but fuck it. Don't ever look at it. Fix your natural mineral line. It's over by 6. Send him somewhere. Send him to the gas for your 3rd or something, because you have no gas at your 3rd, and that's perfectly 6. 3 more on the other one.
You're being attacked.
There you go.
Don't
Perfect.
forget to macro.
Keep macroing. You're not macroing at all right now.
Mineral field.
In terms of your larva,
Send those workers to a new base.
There, I spent it all.
and because if
Kill
you
my army?
yeah, it's okay. That shouldn't be the priority. If you don't spend your larva though, you don't generate larva anymore, and that's what's going to kill you all the time.
You're under attack. Just go kill them.
Because what's happening to you is there's another rule to B2GM, which is if you can't remax within 10 to 15 seconds of your first max, you should feel like you lost the game. And the last time you were maxed was over a minute ago.
You're under attack. Just go kill them.
Killed my damn queen.
Yeah. I think
I'm dead.
you might be dead, yeah. Because he's in the middle of your base right now, and this is, you don't have enough larvae saved up to stop it.
Queen complete.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to rewind it, and once again, check out the Discord thing really fast. I'll just show you where I think things went wrong for you overall. So we go back to your max, right? Your first max. You maxed out. You were actually ahead in supply when you maxed out, and ahead in money. You had the advantage with your initial
And then
max.
But
But here's the problem for
True.
you, was his queens were all spending their injects better than you at this point in time. And you kind of stopped doing it. You have almost 100 energy per queen. Some more than others. Right? Like your queens are super fucking high.
I will say, and this is not to make excuses,
Sure.
because I'm not about that life, but I will say that normally, like I usually have, I'm on par with like queens per bases on my one key, so I'm usually cycling pretty well. Like this game, I botched it, but I do understand the mechanic of that you taught the one, like, so if I have four bases, I should have four queens on one, and then I'll one, and then I'll hold shift tab, and then I'll hit my
For sure.
QWE
I
or etc.
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm
I
aware of that, but I failed.
for sure. No, I mean, I think everyone is aware of it. I actually, when I tell you this stuff, I don't think that you don't understand it. I think that you don't prioritize it. Just like
Right.
I
Okay.
also saw earlier, you chased, it was like a roach or something. I didn't see what it was, but I saw you using your roaches to kill something. And if you noticed that, like, if we go back to it, at that point in time, you had like 15 larvae sitting there. And that
Wow.
larva was so much more important than just chasing that unit and killing that unit.
Right.
It's
right.
just
That makes so much sense.
distractions. Yeah, it's just distractions that definitely it make it to where it's not ideally what you want to be prioritizing at that point in time. And
Exactly.
you can see like right now, like the injects are they are definitely dropping off pretty hard here. And
Yep.
now at this point in time, when your opponent is attacking you, you still actually have an 8 supply lead. This fight actually went surprisingly well for you, because although you did lose all of your drones at your third base, you actually catch his army like this, as he just kind of walks into you and gets destroyed like that. So you take this massive supply lead right off the bat. Now your drones haven't even died yet. So another thing that you could have done could have been potentially like getting your army quickly up here and maybe moving your drones up here, but that requires micro, right? So fuck that. Who cares? Another thing you could have done
Yeah.
is you could have just been like this. Take your army on the, like you could do on the screen here. You could go, okay, select all army, click your button, attack right here, just in the middle of his
Yeah.
army, and then hold shift and go like this with your vision. Hold shift, and you unfortunately haven't scouted the map for yourself. But again, we're not talking about scouting as much as we're talking about just your macro. But let's just say hypothetically, you go, okay, if I attack right here first, I can hold shift and then go attack there at his triangle third, shift attack there on the mini map. I'm still looking. The screen would literally be right here. You're just doing this off the mini map. Shift attack there, shift attack there, shift attack there, and then you never touch your army again.
So you're like saying immediately counter swing after killing his
Yeah.
army,
Yep.
just take what's left.
100%.
Okay.
And then because then your army would have a command to do something while you're busy injecting and making
Right.
your larva into eggs. Because you can see,
right.
like I said before, ideally you want to be maxed out within about 10 to 15 seconds of your previous max, right? And you could be, if you had all this extra larva that is in Q and also is in the queen, because every 25 represents 3. Because 25 energy is an inject, and an inject represents 3 larvae when it's done. And this you can actually indefinitely keep your queen at 0, 25 to 0, 25 to 0, if you're always hitting it on time. Like your queen does not generate faster than it injects. This just means you're missing injects. So this is
Something I did not know prior to, sorry to interject.
This is okay.
Something I did not know prior to BTGM is that you can actually stack injects. So when I was playing Zerg before, I was like, well, we can't inject yet because larva's not spawned.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it was completely like
It's
so
a
bad.
that's a change they made in Heart of the Swarm, because you actually couldn't stack
is it?
injects in Wings of Liberty. Yeah, it's
Okay, that makes sense.
excuse me. It's a change they made in Heart of the Swarm and the kept in Legacy.
I was playing, like I have been playing since Wings of Liberty. Heart of the Swarm is the first time I got plat. Wings of Liberty, I was just complete hot garbage, but that was because I was trying to play Terran. I'm still garbage, but like more so. I was like stuck in bronze and silver because I was trying to play Terran.
Yeah.
And like I cannot, like as you can see, my macro, like you have to be. I feel like Terran, like it's like common belief that they're the hardest race, and I would agree, just because I don't know what it is about them, but I feel like I'm falling asleep when I'm playing them. Like I feel like they're so positional and like so stagnant.
Yeah.
Not stagnant, but like
Ter-
you know what I mean.
Terran
like
is
zoning people.
Terran is a race, generally speaking, that is the most harass requiring race. They're like a proper build for Terran is a build that will disrupt your opponent's build, and it's the hardest to do because that is the hardest way to play StarCraft is multitasking, and it's something
Right.
everybody can do later on. But If you're trying to multitask at low level, you don't. You literally tunnel vision one task after another, and if you pick the wrong one, you don't do the right one because you're not multitasking. And that's what everybody like. There is, and then it doesn't matter. There could be any random person in a YouTube comment or a Twitch chat or whatever could say, "I multitask, but I'm in gold or platinum," and I would say, "No, you don't." And the reason why that is that's true is because if that person is genuinely in gold or plat, I could play them in a 1v1 and multitask, and they won't be able to multitask. Like multitasking
Right.
is actually doing everything perfect, not doing one thing and then stopping the other. Like multitasking is doing two things at the same time, not doing one thing and then 5 seconds later doing something else. You have to do
Yeah.
them together with the timers. No
It's
one
like
does
when
that
you
at the
were-
level.
When you're in PG, when you're doing Terran and you were going from like your production tab while your armies across the map.
Yeah.
That's like looking at the fight is probably more doable with races like that, like Toss and Terran, I guess. Would you say?
I mean, for beta GM though, like especially if you're going mech, no, I think they all can all do it.
Right.
Yeah, but bio is definitely fragile. But yeah, I mean,
I tried your bio tutorial and I found it like I found more success, even though like I'm obviously
you want to know? I can
not
tell you.
at
I already know why. I already know. I 100% already know exactly what you're gonna say, and I know exactly why.
double drops. The double drops.
The reason why. I'll explain this really fast. And this is something we touched on
Yeah.
earlier. You're
Yeah.
gonna say, I found the bio build easier to do than your mech build because I actually like you just won more games with it, and it just felt like it was actually you had more control with it, and the game was just better for you overall. And I assume that's what you're gonna say. Is that right? About right? What is what you were gonna say?
No, I just felt like the simple, like I personally found it simple to just like shift click the side of the map with like each medevac and then just like drop command and
Sure.
then go back to macroing
Okay.
versus the more consistent effort of like, okay, we definitely need more factories now. Like knowing those judgment calls was a lot more difficult than these are the structures we need to make 16 Marines and 2 medevacs, and you know what I mean. So,
Because the answer
Sorry.
I was gonna give you is
yeah,
that's we're talking about baseline again there, and the baseline of your mech build is passive, just like this build is right here for Zerg. But it's if you can macro it well, like what the example I gave you was when you were at like 80 supply and I was at 200. If you can do that, then then you just A move and you literally like everything about the game is so fucking easy because you don't even have to do anything with your army. It just other than saying
Right.
shift A move their base. But when you do bio and you do drops, you're going in the realm of even if your build is inefficient, if your build involves you dropping them, and that is your scout in pretty much, you actually disrupt them as well a lot, and you might be disrupting them more than yourself, which gives you an advantage. But
yeah,
that's
I
why
think that's it.
yeah. That's also why I told you
I
not
don't
to
wanna
micro it
jump
either.
on you.
That's why I was like, just drop it and
But-
freaking forget about it in plat and stuff like that.
Exactly. I was leading into that because like I wanted to share this with you. In like most of the games that it was successful, probably like one of the drops would do nothing and the other one would kill an entire mineral.
Yeah,
line,
exactly.
Just because, and it was just that was it. So you're absolutely correct. Like I didn't have to be good at macroing per se because it's just like that one motion of like I'm dropping here now was like all it took to disrupt a player of that level
Yeah.
and completely like throw them behind for the rest of the game. Because after I had dropped, my economy hadn't been touched, and now his goal has been shifted to just reestablishing economy while I'm still motoring away. So
Yeah.
I think that's why I found more success with it. But in terms of a move potential, you're absolutely correct. Like the mech, still mech.
Yeah. No, I mean, it,
Of
like,
course, you're correct. You're right.
it's just one of those things where it's like knowing again the baseline's like the biggest part about this whole coaching lesson. I feel like that it's a big point that is everybody
huge.
needs to understand. Yeah, it's like unbreakable. It's so you need to respect that because if you don't, you'll lose to it every time. Once you have that down, everything will feel strong. Like you could make any
Right.
composition feel strong. Bio, mech, Ling, Bane, Hydra, Roach, Stalker, mass fucking sentries, immortals, like whatever you want to do would feel strong if your baseline is effective and you understand how to make it good. And that's just resource management and like just macro upkeep of everything during the whole game. So
Right.
going back to this part, again, this is the moment when you have just now, over the last like 5-10 seconds or so, you've dropped under a max. So not that long. And again, as we were talking, if you had all this extra larva, you could if I had to guess how much larva is just available on your queens and what could have been on your hatcheries, I would say you could have probably managed to have squeezed out with good injects constantly, like an extra 30 larvae right now. Probably. That's very fair. I would say it could even be higher. It could be like maybe 45, but I think 30 is very fair in terms of like, I'm not expecting you to be the absolute perfection, but if you just had more of your injects not being up to like 100 on like all your queens, you could definitely have a lot more than you do. Because 30 larvae is 10 injects. And if we're talking about each queen having 4 injects per and you have 4 queens, that's 16 injects right there. And I'm only requiring 10. It's not that bad. And also this queen is actually almost got 200, right? This was your creep spreader.
Yeah.
But and also we didn't really touch on this too much, so I can't really fault you on this too much. Your creep spreader should be a creep spreader until your 4th base is done, and then it injects as well. It just gives you more larvae.
Ah. Yeah, and then there's active tumors on the map.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
So it's sort of like
You'll
irrelevant.
yep.
to
You'll
continue
already
that.
have like 12 tumors like just spreading all over the place.
Yeah.
So anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is all you need is 4 larvae to max again, essentially. It would put you at 199. And if you made an extra drone, you'd be back at 200. So 4 or 5 larvae would max you out again. But witness here, as the game progresses. And again, if you have more, like, you have a lot of money too, right? And you should be able to spend that money if you have the larva appropriate to it. So you have enough money here to make 21 hydras. Pretty much. Or, yeah, pretty much.
I feel like I should have. I see that he had a good chunk of roaches in production. That could have been.
I mean, the roaches.
Like I didn't have any at this
Sure,
point.
that's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna. Again, the baseline is if you just have a good baseline, you can totally
It doesn't matter. Oh, okay.
make things work. Like you can be like, I can make roaches work. I can make hydras work. And now I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not wrong when you say mass hydras is not the greatest army to make against roaches and hydras. That is not incorrect. But it wouldn't matter if your baseline can remax immediately, and your
Right.
opponents can't. Which is the problem of everybody in Platinum and below. They always think about everything else other than the baseline. They're like, well,
Right.
this could work, and that I should be doing that instead. And you overthink everything. But the fight happened. The fight has been going on now for like 45 seconds or so, and you are not even remotely close to maxing out.
Problem.
Mineral field depleted.
And
Mineral field empty.
you
Queen
know, like where's if your queen still have a ton of energy, queen sells a ton of energy, queen sells a ton of energy. This queen hasn't even injected once since it was remade.
Evolution complete.
And this now is the battle is about to commence here. And you
I'm
are
not set for it.
yeah, like this is almost a minute and like a little bit over a minute, almost a minute and a half, like a minute 20 seconds or so that has passed now since the fight started, and you still haven't maxed. And again, the baseline should be if you cannot remax within genuinely 10 to like 15 seconds of your first max, when things start to die, you have some fucking macro problems of like, it's not just like hitting your 200 supply the first time, it's being able to maintain staying there forever. And if you can't, it means you're dropping the ball with your upkeep of your base. And it could be it could be a lot of things like like your injects could be falling apart. It could be you're oversaturating your mineral lines and you're not saturating your drones properly at new bases. It could be you're not expanding fast enough to new bases. This should be also at 10 minutes, by the way, should be your 6th base. So all these things, because if we're going off the 2-minute rule, all these things
Right.
add up, right? And then suddenly you're not able to remax. And like, for instance, right now you're getting, and another one, that a huge one, is you're not actually trying to make units the entire time. So
Right.
a remax is not about inject. Okay, I just lost 80 supply. Remake it all at once. That is not what it's supposed to be like. Remaxing is supposed to be like inject. I lost 4 supply, remade it. I lost 6 supply, remade it. I lost 3 supply, 4 supply, 6 supply, 2 supply, 4 supply, 2 supply, 4 supply. Like you're losing little increments and you're remaking.
Right.
Because if you do that, you'll spend if you actually don't have a surplus of larvae, which in this game you wouldn't because you guys both maxed and went immediately, that's understandable. I mean, you would have had a little bit more than you did if you just had better injects. But the point I'm trying to make here is is when you're not injecting and you're also not making units during the fight, you're getting 0 larva production. Because you're getting no
double negative.
Yeah, you're getting no automated larva, and you're getting no injected larva. So you're actually getting 0 larva every 10 seconds when you should be getting 2 larva every 10 seconds, essentially. Because you get 3 every 30 for both of these aspects, which means 6 larva every 30 when you put them together. That's a lot of larva, and that's per hatchery. So that's being injected at least. So that's 6, 12, 18, 24 larva every 30 seconds, which is 48 supply of army every 30 seconds if you're managing this. And you haven't been maxed for over 1 minute and 20 seconds. And you haven't lost enough to justify that. Because you haven't, like, you took a really good fight there in that last fight. And you haven't lost this yet, right? But you're still not maxed.
Yeah, I also have bank, which doesn't.
Well, that's what I mean. It's because you're not spinning your larva. You're not actually utilizing larva. So, and like you basically, you haven't lost enough so far to actually make you feel like there's no way you could have not remaxed yet. And this is something that is a major deal that you'll have to get better at going from in the future to like progress from Plat 2. Like this is a major deal. This is something that you need to only get even better at by a lot, like going forward into Diamond and into Masters and so on, and towards the end of Plat as well.
Oh yeah, I'll be definitely practicing it like a grind daily now at this point. So like I have a lot better understanding. Like I thought I knew what I was doing based on your instructions, but this is a lot more informative. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
It definitely highlights like it's one thing to hear like another player's corrections, but when it's you, like you definitely feel why your pockets are being emptied.
For sure.
Like,
and you want to see something crazy here? The fight started at 9 minutes and 23 seconds. And it's 11:13, which means that's 1 minute and 50 seconds later. And 1 minute and 50 seconds, if we add that up to larva, 1 minute 50 in terms of generation is 15 larva. Or, sorry, no, that's not true at all. Oh, what am I saying? 1 minute 50 is 1 larva per hatchery, and you have 5 hatcheries. So you're getting 5 larva per 10 seconds. So that is, what is that, 75 larva off automated? Or, wait, what? Am I doing that right? Yes, I am, because it's per hatchery. It's per hatchery. So it's, because it sounds wrong because I'm thinking about 1 hatchery. It sounds like a lot, but it's 5 hatcheries. So that is a lot, yeah, and it's a fuckload. So yeah, I mean it's, or no, hold on, I am doing it wrong. I think it's Jesus Christ, it's 5. Okay, I feel like I can't do it the math in my head for some reason right now. It's 5 hatcheries, generating 1 larva every 10 seconds, and 1 hatchery in 15 and 1 minute 50 is gonna generate
30 a minute.
No, that's 1 minute 50 is it's 110 seconds. So that's I'm for some reason I was doing hundreds and not 60 seconds per minute. So 110 seconds is 11 larva per hatchery. That's way more. I was like, it feels wrong, but there you go. So that's 11 larva, 22, 33, 44, 55. I don't know why that was so hard for me, but there we go. That's 55 larva from just automated.
Right.
Double that if you include injects. That's 110 larva for all of your larvae together. And 110 larva is equivalent to 220 supply of Roach Hydra. And you only need 100. Or you only need 90 so far. And how much larva do you actually have? You have 13.
Jack. Yeah.
And the reason why you have 13 is because you haven't injected really much at all. And you haven't spent anything, which is why your supply is so low now. So you did not actually make units at all during that entire minute 50 block of time. The one thing you made was that you made the drones, and then you made nothing after that, really.
Right.
Like, because you did remake the drones, but you made no roaches and hydras throughout it, like after you made the drones. And the drones are already done as well. So it's just a ton of larvae you missed out on. And you can see that's also why you have so much bank that could be spent as well. Like, it's only going really high now.
Your
Yeah, it's
forces
bad.
are under attack.
So like this, even though this died, this is the concept of how it should feel. If you're doing it correctly, the difference of him killing you at his base defensively and crossing the map aggressively, by the time he gets to your base and comes up your ramp and starts setting up a fight here, as soon as he engages you, your last units that just died should have been rebuilt within a second of them dying, and they are now spawning as he gets here.
Yeah.
And then all the units that did the same thing, so if you have let's just say this, to make this a really easy example to understand. If you have 100 units, when unit 70 dies, unit 30 is in rebuilt production. When unit 65 dies, unit 35 is in production. When unit 52 dies, unit 48 is in production. So it's like your existing army and your new army are just alternating spots. And by the time you get down to one unit dying, like the number one, the final unit in your first army dies, unit 100 is now being rebuilt.
Right.
So like you literally just rotate it into new units as you die. It just becomes army 2 as shit dies. And if you can actually do that, and if that's what your focus is throughout the game, like throughout the stage of the game at this point in time, you will never ever go, oh fuck, he's countering me though, now I'm dead. Anyone who actually gets countered and dies in plat with BGM means they don't have good upkeep. Because if you ever watch any of my games, I'm like anyone out there listening right now, literally go watch a game in plat when it's like a game that takes maybe, it happened quite a few times, but a game that would take maybe like 18 minutes to win or like 15 minutes to win, and I'm like, this guy's putting up a pretty good fight. Watch the minimap and you'll watch my whole blob disappear. It'll get deleted. It'll die. Just like what happened there for your hydras there. But then by the time I get attacked by his blob, I already have a full blob again. Like it's already there for the second time around.
So
sorry, go ahead.
When he counters, you're already ready to crush him.
Yeah.
And then you counter.
And
then until he can't keep up.
The build time of a hydra is actually really fast. You had a minute 50 between the last fight and now your army fully dying here. And a hydra takes 24 seconds to build. It's like 1/4 of that, or like 1/5 of that almost. Not quite, but it's around there. It's way faster. So and that's why I was saying, like, if this last hydra died, you would already ideally, like, you should already be maxed the entire time. But just because you're maxed doesn't mean every unit you have is already alive and out there. It could be in an egg. That is very possible.
Right.
But what would ideally be happening for you is the last hydra died, you would ideally be still maxed out, but your active out of egg supply would be like 170, and you would have like 30 supply in eggs right now. And then as he gets to like let's say he goes forward a little bit, you can see he even waited a little bit, but let's say now he's over here. This is like another like 15 seconds later. Now you have like 190 supply active and like 10 supply in eggs. And then like once you get to that final like 24, 25 seconds later, like right about now, because your last hydra over here died like literally about 24 seconds earlier, about like 11, 20, 11, 15 even. Your final hydra would be spawning, and you'd have a big hydra blob just ready to go already, or a hydras and roaches. You could totally make roaches if you want to. I am totally for you looking at it if you want to, just for a quick second to get a read on composition. Once you get comfortable with this, and then going right back into like inject, 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 inject. And then making sure you always have like your larva suitable, and making sure you're spending it as you lose it, because it's as good as injecting if you do that.
That's good.
Yeah, and then you would have enough units to not die here. That would, because his army is not even like this army isn't actually maxed out, even though he is maxed out. You have to realize too, he lost some army too, so he's got a bunch of hydras also on the way. So this fight for you. Oh, sorry. What's up?
He has like a big chunk of them in eggs as well, I think.
Yeah, no, exactly, right? Yeah, he's got 10 supply in eggs, and he's got like that's like 4 supply there. That's 8 supply now, 10 supply, 12. Like some of it's still a little bit behind, trailing the fight. Like it's just a thing where if you were like fully maxed out with your army here, because you have defender's advantage and your units have to spawn, and then they're in the fight like immediately. Whereas like his units have to cross the entire fucking map, and then they're in the fight like 15 seconds or like 20 seconds after they spawn. You could have the overwhelming odds here of advantage in the fight, just like he did against you there, and then it shifts and it shifts and it shifts. And if he was doing BGM perfectly as well as his units died, he would be remaxed, and by the time you cross the map, if you did the same thing that he did, he could have a new army standing there and ready to go just like you did. But the problem about platinum players is nobody does that, because the first time someone learns how to do that, they get promoted out of platinum. They're diamond players, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So
Like the MMR system, does it like does it look at all those performance
No.
statistics on that tab? And
nah.
okay,
It's
that's
literally
not
just
how
winning and
MMR
losing in MMR. So MMR is not based off performance. It's based off of an equation that says if you're a higher player, he's worth more MMR. If you're a lower player, he's worth less MMR. That's it.
Right.
So yeah, it's just based on, like, you could have a guy who genuinely plays at GM level and his MMR is at silver level, and he will give you a silver level of fucking MMR if you beat him.
That's what's wrong with a lot of ranked.
Yeah, I honestly think that the game is old, and also the game is not being patched anymore, so people just get bored, and being bored makes more Smurfs. That's unfortunately what happens.
Right.
It's also free to play, which
And
is
they can
another
get-
reason why.
Is it free to play all the way up to Legacy of the Void?
You can it's free to play. Like ladder now is just free to play. You log in and you have to play unranked, and then eventually you can play ranked. But the thing about unranked is it shares a player pool with ranked. It's just that MMR doesn't build for unranked players in their ranked category. But like unranked and ranked, they share. Like if you queue, you can queue into each other. And that
Do
way,
you think that
or go
since
ahead.
I've had such a low rank, like I've been in a lower rank for so long with this account, do you think that it would be easier for me to climb if I made a new account?
No.
Okay, good.
The reason why I would
Good,
say
good.
that is because conditioning, like it's going to give you a morale boost. You're going to feel confident, but then it's going to take it all away again once you get back to where you just were before. And here's the thing. Let's just say this. This is real. This is actually real. If you have 3,000 MMR, this is just hypothetical, okay? But this is real. If you're at 3,000 MMR and you're hitting a brick wall there and you're struggling, and if you really struggle there for a month, you'll push it up to 3,200. Because you're playing your heart out, you're practicing, and you are getting better because you're putting a lot of effort, but you're slowly getting better. But if you're at 3,000 MMR and you go, you know what, I'm gonna make a new account, and I'm gonna drop it, like now my new account's back down to 1,000. You're gonna feel like you're better than 3,000 MMR. You're gonna feel that way because you're gonna win all your games. But you're going to be playing players that don't push you to play better. You're going to play players that let you make tons of mistakes and still lose to you because they're way worse than you. And now your new brick wall is going to be like 2,700, because when you get back to 2,700 now, you're going to have been out of shape where you were before because you haven't played tough games for a while. And now you're going to be fucking playing players that were worse than you were before are now going to feel harder than they were because your average now is used to players that are like 1,500 or like 1,900, which you were stomping, and you weren't even having to try to win those games. Your like sloppy play was beating them, which reinforces you to not fix your mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, this has definitely been enlightening for sure, man. Appreciate it. By the way, before I forget, nice haircut.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I noticed these things. Anyways, I'm sure you want to get to your ladder games, so I'm going to practice this like crazy for the rest of the night. And as I said, I have a lot of opportunities to practice. So I think by our next coaching session, I should definitely. What did you say? I need to make 9 minutes and 45 seconds.
No. Okay, I'll say it one more time. So this is my very blunt, no sugarcoating number scaling for you. Anything above 901 or higher is a failure. And then, so you need to really fucking fix that. Anything between 8 minutes and 30 up to 8:59 is okay, but you could do better. It's okay though. It's basically worthy of platinum. And if you want to stay platinum for life, then that's okay. But if you want to get out of platinum, it needs to get better than that. And anything between what I did in my game for you, which I think was like 8:13 or 8:14, something like that. Anything between that and 8:30 is really good, and I'm going to be very impressed. And we'll talk. And basically the next time we coach would be, I would say, to do yourself a favor. If you cannot hit 9 minutes, if we coach again, we're going to talk about why you can't hit 9 minutes, honestly, because everything else is irrelevant. And it might be things like spinning your larva or your injects are bad, because this is literally what it's going to be. A lot of the repetition stuff what we talked about today already.
If I can't max out at that time, we'll talk about switching to Protoss and
If,
Toxic Light
if
Ray.
you okay, I mean, if you want to be a cheeser, I'll teach you how to be a cheeser as well. It's really your choice. I don't mind. It's part of the game. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
9 minutes plus is definitely a failure for this kind of a play style. Like, it means that you're definitely making a lot of slow mistakes. But if you make it between 8:30 to 9 minutes, like 8:30 like 8:59, we'll talk some about macro again. We might be able to help you elaborate further in detail on other things. But if I would really recommend for your, as long as you can at least do it every now and again, but if you can consistently max out before 8:30, that's you being ready for the next step.
Do you recommend that? Like, is it okay if I'm running these games on AI just to try to hit that timing, or is that going to be detrimental to my overall development?
I think you should try to feel confident to do it against players. And
Unranked, or is unranked okay?
Unranked is fine. Unranked and ranked, like I said, are the same exact players. It's just that you don't have the anxiety of losing your MMR that's on display.
Yeah.
But there is MMR that correlates to unranked as well. It just doesn't share ranked. Like, you have two MMRs. You have a hidden MMR and you have a shown MMR. So if you play unranked, you can still queue into players that are playing actually ranked. But if your unranked MMR is 2K and your ranked MMR is 3K, it's, if you win the game in unranked, now your unranked MMR might be 2042. But your ranked MMR does not change. So you could actually, that's why you can have players who are in ranked, they're bronze, which is on display. So you go, what the fuck, I'm playing a bronze player. It says they're bronze around their border because their ranked MMR is like 1K. But their unranked MMR is like 6K, which is like pro level. And they're a fucking troll because they're like, I'm bronze and I'm really good. Because they just tanked their rank down to bronze and they actually play unranked seriously. Like, that can happen.
Right.
So if you play unranked, that's totally fine. You don't have to have the fear of losing games on your record if that's going to give you annoyance or anxiety or whatever. I'm okay with that. I think that's better for you, though, playing some type of a real player over just playing AI, because at least real players also incorporate distractions. And being able to max out before 8:30 with a distraction is also something you're going to have to learn to deal with. Like, with this playstyle.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Just like during my work day though, when I have to pause and such like that.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, practice is practice. Okay, cool. I think that's fine. I just think if you're limited with your like your environment in some way, if you have any time to do anything, that's better than nothing. But exactly. Yeah, no, if you can just like turn off everything around you, sit down for 3 hours of just constant fucking grinding, definitely play real players over AI.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Thank you. I do appreciate everything, man.
All right, me too.
Very informative.
Yeah, and you have, like you said, you have 2 more, so we'll definitely.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll figure those out, like, you know, play it by ear. When I'll be like, yo, vibe, but I think I'm doing good, or be like, yo, my max time is like 8:49. Maybe we can work on some like take it a step further and try to like get some new mechanics.
You're the boss. You are the boss here. Even if you wanted to coach tomorrow, if you really wanted to do it, I'd be like, okay. Like, I can give you my best recommendation, but you're the one who chooses what you ultimately want. Just like if you, the next time you coach, if you're like, I'm fucking all-inning now, dude, teach me all-ins only, I'd be like, okay. Like, I'll do my best to help you. I'm just trying to steer you in the right direction, right? So
yeah,
whatever you want, really.
I feel like I agree with your statements on like the state of the game and how it should be played, and how if you truly want to enjoy it, this is what you need to learn to do.
Sure.
Like, I'm 100% like in alignment with that. So like as much as like I wrote 1,800 words on why I chose to, rather than use BTGM, I chose to just like fast link speed open, like my quick link speed rush, like on Protoss and Terran specifically, because I was always getting shit on, because obviously I couldn't keep up macro wise. So anytime a bigger army, it's hard enough in a mirror match, as you can see, like, let alone having the strength of a Terran or a Protoss army. So as you can see, I would like lose Terran games almost constantly because I couldn't push beyond a wall to do any damage early. So that was a big problem. I feel like this is like where I need to to develop in order to develop at all. Like I completely agree with your statements
Yeah.
there. So that
Nice.
in the future, even if I do want to play all in styles, I need to be able to, and this is something that I wrote into my thing as well, as like you must be able to like default back to a macro effort or like don't even bother playing.
Yeah,
Like
for
it's like
sure.
when you re so hard against a cheeser and tell them to uninstall after the game because you're just like you want to play a game, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's good mindset to like want to grow as a player and not just get cheap wins.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I would say definitely try to get it down and try to make yourself feel like you can handle it. Because
Mhm.
again, the perfect always the quota the the bar that I've set for you is my example I gave you, and you can beat that bar. And if you can actually beat that bar, I'll be super fucking impressed. But if you can get
Mhm.
close to it, that's what you need to be able to do. And again,
Right.
9 minute plus is failure. And if you're like 8:58, that's still close to a failure. So definitely try to push yourself and speed up as much as you can. If you can make it
Right.
above, or sorry, if you can make it faster than 8:30, I'll be very happy with where you're at.
Sounds good, my dude. Yeah, I think I can. I think I can make that happen. I'm pretty obsessed. So
Nice, man. Well, it sounds like you have the drive to do it. Some people just get super lazy, but I feel like you're dedicated, which is definitely good for you. And I feel like with how much effort you're gonna put into it, you definitely can get it down. And then once you get it down, a lot of things will open up to you in the game. It'll get harder because you have to start multitasking later on, but this will make you like if just to throw it out there, if you started doing multitasking now, it'll feel ridiculously hard because
Mhm.
you're just not gonna have a good baseline to base everything off of.
Yeah, I think I just need to remember what you were saying. It's just like ignore that, ignore that, ignore that. Like just
Yeah.
remember what the priorities are here. And like I think that this is like highlighted exactly how bad. I knew that I was doing certain things poorly. I just didn't realize how poorly.
Sure.
So
No, makes sense.
this is definitely enlightening.
Yeah. Well, dude, I hope it helps you as much as possible, and I look
Yeah,
forward
man.
to speaking with you again in the
Yeah,
next
I'm
coaching
gonna
lesson.
practice. Yeah, sure. I'm going to practice this afterwards while I watch your stream on on the other screen. It's usually what I do when I game anyways, is watch you ladder while I play. That's why when I came on the chat the one time, I'm like, dude, corruptors just shit all over a sky toss. Like I built that composition, and have you ever actually? I just want to ask, have you ever tried to like do something that is actually kind of expensive in like the compos? So if you have a high economy, like I guess this is kind of like a go nowhere question, but that composition itself in higher level play, does it actually have viability if you're
S-
getting just like a chunk of corruptors and with your big blob of hydras to fight sky toss? Is that viable?
like yes, like you're saying is you're saying is Corruptor Hydra viable against Skytoss overall?
Yeah, because I did well with it in a game, but I felt like this worked, but I feel like it shouldn't because I feel like it's just overall too expensive.
I mean, it can. It depends on what the composition of the Protoss is, and it depends on how your upgrade allocation has been distributed. Like if you have 0/0
Right.
Corruptor and 3/3 Hydra, and you're making like 2/3 Corruptor, you're probably gonna have a bad day, because Corruptors without
Hmm.
upgrades are not as good as Hydras with upgrades. But Corruptors
Pretty
with
sure it was plus.
upgrades, or sorry, go ahead.
I think it was plus two on the ground and then plus 1 attack for the corruptors. His
Also,
composition was like
if you
8
fight
voids and then
Skytoss,
mass
if
carrier.
you fight Skytoss with
Hmm.
Corruptor, you should definitely prioritize Carapace.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
and the reason why is
that makes
it's
sense because
overkill.
the interceptors.
It's a concept of overkill. You're focus firing with your Corruptor, so you're killing them in one shot anyways, and you'll have more Corruptors up longer if they don't die, so you'll have more overkill. If you have damage upgrades though, your Corruptors are gonna melt like a hot knife through butter, and then you'll just lose them, and then like the armor value is huge because so much of Skytoss is so fast hitting and weak damage, but
Mhm.
if it's fast hitting and weak damage, it adds up pretty fast if you have no armor.
Right, right. Yeah, see, so the what was happening, I think, is like I would just control click all the corruptors, hit the carriers, and then let the hydras take care of the interceptors.
And that
So in that regard, was really just melting his army because by that time, like if they weren't already dead, they'd be sitting there with no interceptors to fight, and then the voids would just be like, okay,
To,
cool.
to bring
Like,
you
yeah,
into
exactly about it.
to bring you into my mind for a second on what you just said there, though, is the whole explanation I gave you just a second ago about the 10 to 15-second remax rule. I feel like what you just said is breaking it entirely because you're trying to do a super intense micro situation because you're microing corruptors against Skytoss is constantly needing to be microed. Because if you just A-move it, they're just worse than Hydras. And if you focus fire it, they're better than Hydras, but you're also not macroing probably. Because
Right.
it's platinum.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I can tell you right now that during that fight, though I won it, I was completely tunnel vision staring at it. So that's
Gotcha.
absolutely valid. All right, man. I feel like I kept you long enough. I know you got your games to run, and this has been, as good as I thought it would be. A little bit better actually,
Nice.
because I was like, I don't know what more can he really show me that I've not absorbed from his series, and I can tell you it's a hell of a lot more than I thought it would be.
Sure.
So.
Sounds good,
And I
man.
also have the replay. I have this write out.
I'll also
that
send you
you've
the VOD
done.
by tomorrow of this.
All right, sounds good, man. Sounds good. Enjoy your games, GGs. I'm sure you do well. Don't read too hard when it comes to Terran play, I guess.
Okay. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Are
All right. Have a good
you
rest of your
doing
night.
any WoW later, or are you just gonna be SC2 all night?
I'll probably just do StarCraft tonight. I
All
probably.
right, cool. Sounds good. All right, thanks a lot, man. See you next time.
All right.
We'll just I'll let you know when I'm feeling ready for it.
Sounds good. All right. Take it easy.
All
Have a
right,
good night and good luck.
Thank you. Yep.
All right. See you, man.
GG. Bye.
All right, guys. That has been a coaching lesson with So Focused. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely, probably gonna. I said the word baseline a lot in this video, so probably that's what it's gonna be called in the title because it's true. How to develop a good baseline or something like that. And yeah, it's important because this is, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I've coached many people over the years, and there's nothing wrong with So Focused at all. But this is a very this is probably the biggest problem of everyone in platinum specifically. It happens to people. Sometimes it happens to players in gold, and sometimes players in silver, and even sometimes players in diamond. But it really happens to players mostly in platinum, which is they get really caught up on everything StarCraft and not enough on macro StarCraft. And if you don't do enough macro StarCraft, everything's irrelevant. Legit. So hopefully, if you're listening and you're out there and you're having similar problems to what So Focused is having, hopefully it helps you too. And also shout out to Simple for the help on helping us play this game out. Thank you very much, dude. Simple, appreciate you. And the guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, wherever that may be, whatever video, or maybe on Twitch or something. But I'll see you next time. Till then, take it easy. Much love and good luck, guys. Peace.